Hello everybody and welcome to Football Park. It's 1999 preliminary final day in the SANFL, and today it's the Eagles up against Norwood. The Eagles were disappointing last week, losing the second semi-final to Port Adelaide by 43 points. They're on an emotional low. But Norwood, on the other hand, a stirring 14-point victory over Glenelg last week. They were 23 points down with just 10 minutes to play and they got up to win. They're on an emotional high and looking pretty good. Stay with us. We're here until 6 o'clock. I think you'll enjoy this one of the big games of the season. As Andrew Payes joins us. Payesy, you were here back in 1993, preliminary final day. The Eagles were on a roll and doing it pretty good. There's a lot of emotion for the players out there today.
There is. It doesn't get any better than this. I mean, the opportunity to play in a grand final. Both sides have had excellent years. Norwood just starting to come good at the right time, but don't write off the Eagles. They've had a terrific season so far, and they were against a hardened opponent last week in Port Adelaide.
Well, you're an old Eagle player. I guess the emotion says that the Eagles will win for you.
Oh, no question about that. That's where my heart's going to be. But I wouldn't underestimate Norwood in any way, shape or form. As I mentioned before, they really are starting to come good at the right time, but just the youthful and the exuberance of the Eagles might hold them in good stead today, I think.
Fair enough. Weather conditions are absolutely perfect as we go down to Michael Parsons for this weather report.
Thanks, David. You're correct. The weather conditions are absolutely perfect for good footy, and we've already seen one pretty good game of football in the reserves where we saw South. They were very jubilant when they got over Port Adelaide 74-72, just snuck in by the 2 points, and they'll move on to the grand final to play Sturt next week. And hopefully we'll see a day as good as today. 22 degrees, a light southwesterly breeze just drifting across the ground. You can smell the barbecues in the car park, David. You'll be in the commentary box and I might sneak out to see what's going on. But I'm looking forward to this game of football.
And so too are we. Look at that as we look at the 2 times these sides have met this year. And head-to-head, they're one apiece. In round 13, it was Norwood by 25 points. The Eagles were 11-10 and Norwood were 14-7. James kicked 3 and Neil kicked 3 for the Redlegs. Pavlich kicked 3 goals, 1 in that match, Payes. We were there at round 21 at Woodville Oval when the Eagles got up and won by 9 goals.
Yeah, we were, and that was a period of the year when Norwood, they weren't travelling all that well at all. They had a lot of players out with injury and their team structure wasn't good. The Eagles were up and running, and now they've just started to put it together.
At round 21 match, Pesh kicked 3, Grinick and Dillon kicked a couple. They were awesome that day, the Eagles.
They were, and I think they've got a good spread across every line, and they're going to need all their midfielders down there kicking goals to support the likes of Matty Kluzak, Kenny McGregor, and also up forward in Chris Kluzak as well.
Mark Micken will have his hands full today against Peter Road. Difficult task.
Yeah, well, Peter Rhodes a hardened taskmaster, and he's been with Norwood a few years now, and he just knows what they can do. Not only that, I think their experience on the ground is going to be invaluable too, with the likes of Pitt, Dan Tokia, Davey and McCormack.
During the week we caught up with Mark Micken, whose young Eagles learned a lot after taking a battering last week at the hands of Port Adelaide.
I thought we could draw something from last Sunday against the measuring stick of the competition, Port Adelaide. I thought, you know, we were pretty competitive for most of the game. I think really our club or our team needs to have just good performances from just about every player, you know. I mean, and you know, we're a pretty young side, and we rely on everybody playing well, really. So, you know, we need an even performance from our side, and I wouldn't be able to identify one particular area that has to be great for us to win. I think we just need to be very competitive and have good performances from a lot of players.
As we go to the Eagles line-up, Payesy, you've had a chance to scrutinise this team. They look pretty good, particularly in the back half.
Certainly do. A lot of experience back there, along with 2 really young, hardened players in Shirley and also Whelan. Whelan terrific last week, a hard player from Darwin, and also you know, with Rogers and McCarthy back there, and also Dutchy Holland was fantastic, probably a shining light for the Eagles last week against Port Adelaide. I think the key to their game is the advantage they'll have in ruck with Biglands and Wiggins, and if they can get first hand on the ball to the likes of Pearce, Sikalella and Colville and give their forwards an easy chance, get in there quickly and efficiently, that is where the Eagles can win the game.
Fair enough. Shirley gets the job, I guess, on Warrior.
Yeah, I'd say that he'd start with them. Eugene Warrior, as we've seen, has been a revelation in the final so far. Gone forward and kicked goals in a couple of minutes. And Stephen Hall will probably line up on the dangerous Andrew Pascoe as well.
Mark Micken ready for action. He's in a pensive mood. You know a fair bit about him, Payes. He's pretty relaxed.
Well, I mean, he'd be like a duck on the water, I think, pretty relaxed on the outside, but underneath he'd be paddling like mad, I think, and there's no coach that's super relaxed at this time of the game, and he'd be just sort of planning his strategies and working out what can and can't go wrong. So.
As we go to the Norwood lineup, Mark Nayley joins us. Mark, interesting to have a look at the Redlegs. Particularly, we talk about the Eagles' defensive zone. Well, so too for the Redlegs. They're very strong.
Yes, Dave. You see there on the last line of defence is Jerry Dantoshu coming into today's team. I mean, they've beaten over the last 2 weeks. They've beaten Sturt the first week and the Tigers last week, but they look stronger today with Jerry Dantoshu coming in. Also, Todd Davey, the Deputy Vice-Captain, and Michael. I think the inclusion of the big fella in Downsborough will add a little bit of height up forward for the Redlegs.
Yes, it's something that should be critical for them. Yeobury has done a good job, but having that extra height in Downsborough coming in will be critical for them up forward. Eugene Warrior would think would kick a couple of goals, as it's already been said, and it really is who else is going to put their hand up for the Redlegs up in that forward zone and get the goals on the board that they'll need to win. Last week we saw Lockie Bowman play a serviceable game, I guess we'd say, at centre-half forward, but then in that last 10 to 15 minutes popped up and made himself a hero by kicking a couple of critical goals. I really think it is a great day for footy. The in and under players will be critical, but Norwood have to find a player that can kick maybe 4 goals to get them over the line against a very good Eagles team.
Pretty fair point, Michael, but we caught up with Peter Rode earlier in the week, and he knows that his defence will be right on top if they're going to win.
I think obviously the Eagles have got a very powerful forward line. They've got some good high-marking forwards, and they've got a lot of pace across the middle of the ground, probably similar to us. You know, I think that they've got the ability to score very quickly. The two Kluzaks and Pavlich and the two big ruckmen they've got give them a lot of good high-marking power in the forward line, so that's something we're very worried about. I think, you know, in some ways there's not as many demands on a coach. I don't think we train as hard this time of the year, and certainly in terms of, you know, tactics and strategies and things, you try and perfect all those things during the season. In the finals, I suppose it's a matter of fine-tuning and managing the players. You know, it's a pretty hard time of the year in terms of their output. They're playing at Footy Park each week, and it's pretty tiring for them. So it's really a matter of just trying to freshen them up during the week and obviously build their confidence and give them a chance to work on their skills.
And Ian Downsborough is playing, number 1, Paisy. Interesting, after an ankle injury, his fitness must be a question.
No doubt about that at all. I mean, I think he's just a backup there to Yeobury. They've gone in with a single ruckman all year, and Ian Downsborough showing his versatility. You know, he can play down forward, also in the back lines, and they may need to use him in ruck, so he'll be a very, very handy inclusion to the side.
And Nails Pyman has announced during the week his retirement. He'll be a loss for the Eagles.
Yes, sad thing to see a player of his ability go out of the game. Only aged 27. Andrew just sensed that he's got a lot of football left in him.
I don't think there's any doubt about that, although Robert hasn't enjoyed this year as much as he would have liked for various reasons, but he'll certainly be giving it his all today and also next week if he gets the opportunity. And he's a player that must start this week, must start up forward, because he was very, very pivotal to them in their victory the week before against Glenelg.
Now the skippers have tossed the coin, or in the process of. Andrew Rogers, Anthony Harvey, and umpire Kevin Chambers shakes hand as Colin Rouston puts the coin in the air. And it's Andrew Rogers who kicks to the northern end of Football Park to the left of screen.
A little bit of breeze out there, David. We had a look before, and obviously it's important to get a start and use whatever advantage you can. And I think by winning the toss, it's a little psychological advantage for the Eagles.
Todd Davey, you've got to say, Andrew, the ex-Eagle player is a very important, courageous member of this Redlegs side. He's always been a big game player.
I think Peter Reid would have been rubbing his hands together knowing that Todd Davey was going to be available for this game. He certainly used his pace and ability, and is just so hard coming off that defensive line, and he's a terrific inclusion for Norwood.
Now, Eugene Warrior, Michael Parsons, we saw him last week explode and in 10 minutes turned the game.
He's just got those skills that we love to come and watch football for, hasn't he? He really ran around a little bit in the first half and didn't get a lot of the ball, but once he gets it, he's just so well balanced, so hard to catch. He's just going to be so dangerous. He's given the opportunity, and I think that's going to be critical. Just missing, I think, Doreen and Obst will be the Redlegs, and whether they can get that delivery into the forward line is going to be critical.
Speaking of the forward line, Nails, Matty Pavlich, only 17, the weight of the world on his shoulder in this final, but they really need him performing.
Yes, David, you're right there. He's playing a key position at centre-half forward and really has to dominate there. Last week he was impressive early. He led up the field to get his kicks. He created those options for him up forward, but a big ask of him. As you said, he's 17 years of age. But they're talking about AFL football. Today is the day that he just has to show his wares.
Well, the umpires are out on the ground. The players are in position. Colin Roust and Kevin Chambers and Tim Pfeiffer stay with us till 6 o'clock tonight. The preliminary final, the Eagles and Norwood. Your commentator is Mark Nayley.
Yes, the first bounce, preliminary final. Yerbury gets the first tap of the afternoon. Quick kick down. Kemp gets it up forward. Mark nearly taken there. 31 is Bassett. Coming across again, Kemp applies the tackle. Good hands inboard. Back to Rogers. Rogers just skips the ball forward. Back there again. Just sweeping back there is Harvey. Gets hold of the footy. Oh, great use of the body there by James. Just push Colville under the football. Gets back quickly. Gets the ball up. Player by himself is Cotton. Cotton takes it left leg around the body. The first score of the afternoon to the Redlegs. It's a major. First goal to Cotton.
Certainly a big start to the Redlegs there. Roger James there just showing his experience and showing his ability in the one-on-one contest there. Just nudged Gavin Colville out the way at the right time. His delivery of the ball into the forward line very, very quick, and a sharp shooting Jared Cotton there. No mistake on the left boot.
They've done it the hard way, the Redlegs. They came from the elimination final against then Glenelg last week, where they were 23 points down at the 15-minute mark of the term and finally won, so they are flying high. Crouch thumps it down. Pesh gathers it in. Cunningham claims him and Crouch comes again. So the Redlegs are attacking the ball with gusto.
Nick Pesh there started in the forward line last week for the Eagles, spent most of the day there, kicked 4 goals, but Mark Micken obviously realising his value in the middle of the ground, he's moved up into the centre today.
I guess, Paisley, they can still move him into the forward line, but I think the midfield is where this game will be won and lost, and both coaches have put their best players into that position. McCarthy thumps it down, Sikalella taken, and the umpire will have a bounce as we go down to Michael Parsons and the Eagles bench.
Yes, the guy sitting out to start the game for the Eagles, the big man in Jeff Wiggins, Matthew Kluzak, he'll be looking to come on and give some spark in that forward line, and John Floriani.
Bigland's up against Yerbury. Neither player getting their hand on the football. Gavin Colville, good hands and board to Ugrinnick. He's tackled well. The umpire has indicated he's thrown the football. Free kick to the Redlegs.
Gee, their tackling's been good. They've been ferocious, Norwood, this first couple of minutes.
Yerbury, Bowman over the back, comes down to Cotton, handballs across, again to Bowman. Bowman left leg around his body. James again, good spoil by Sicarella. Actually marked his spoil.
Yeah, well done.
Well done by the young fella. Umpire blows the whistle. He'll come back over his mark. But the Eagles at the moment, Andrew, under a fair bit of pressure across that midfield.
Yeah, they are. They've been able to clear it out of the centre, Norwood, and just Sicarella had a good opportunity there to move it on quickly, but the ball's been brought back.
Rogers, short, wasteful. Oh, good take underneath that one. It's Scotty Bassett.
Very unusual that he wastes the ball. I think the first time in a long time that he doesn't find the body, so obviously the nerves are playing a factor early for all concerned.
Bassett will square it up 20 metres out. They'll look for the big fellas to fly. Yerbury's got it. He's almost claimed it. Play on, called the umpire. Colville missed it. Bowman crashes to ground. McCarthy got him. What a battle that'll be today.
No doubt about it. McCarthy's been in good form, and he'll need to be on his mantle. We saw him against Glenelg. He was terrific, almost best on ground with that driving experience run from the back, and he'll need to be doing that again today.
I guess there was an expectation that Fruin would have the job. In fact, I think he has. So McCarthy's just there. Pearce, who missed last week with a calf strain. To Hall, switch of play. Paisley liked it. Puts it into the space of Ugrinnick with sheer pace. He just streaks away. Watch this fellow go towards full forward he goes. It's a long ball in. The big spoil up was Neal. Down to Fleming. Over the top goes the handball pit. Gets it away. Dantokia towards the boundary line, but it's too far. It's out of bounds. Pressure from the Eagles.
Excellent pressure. Was that the hand pit or the sand pit, Dave?
Sorry,
it doesn't matter, but certainly that's Norwood's strength. They're running in their attack out of defence, but good pressure from the Eagles has forced the error.
Ugrinnick pumps the ball inside 50. Where's Pavlik? He's out in front. Pyman is down there as well. Can't get his hands on the football. They still kept the football in. Holland can just sense a player out of the corner of his eye. That's Colville, who run into the football nicely. Breaks the tackle, left leg, puts it on its way. Has he brought it back far enough? I don't think he has. Behind to the Eagles.
Eagles electing to start with Robert Pyman in the forward pocket there. We just saw there the ball going to go out of bounds, but he showed experience there to keep it in, push it out in front of Dutchy Holland, who centred the ball, and that's why he's out on the ground. As soon as it comes into his area, something positive happens.
Now that's a wayward kick just inside the line. Picked up by Kemp. Tackle, play on, called out by. No, he doesn't.
It's just experience from the young fella there. got it out in front, realised that he was going to get tackled, and he's earned himself a free kick.
His last 4 or 5 weeks have been terrific, haven't they? He's just found plenty of the ball. He's going hard at it. The kick is a good one. Drew in the spoil from behind. Crouch picks it up. Pesh claims him. The handball comes away. Missing it, Kemp. Well done, the Eagles. Pesh, slick to Dillon. Clements just corralled him right on the boundary line. Clements did well, forced him across the line. It was good play by the Redleg defender as we go down to Michael Parsons and the Redleg bench.
Yes, the Redleg bench. Got a couple of guys there that haven't played much football lately, Ian Downsborough and Todd Davey, and also young Scotty Borloo is just waiting his chance.
Ball thrown in. Yerbury, body with Biglands. Biglands gets the better of this duel. Ball to the ground. Players just pouncing upon it. The umpire has maybe found a free kick he has and will come back. Norwood, Jerry Dan Toshia, they're pretty experienced there. 204 games for Jerry Dan Toshia. Kicks up, good kick. Cotton started well in front of Whelan. He was so good last week, Whelan, but he got his hands full with Cotton at this stage of the game. Back there was Pascoe, couldn't take it. Rogers is there, goes for the safety of the boundary line, can't find it. Oh, Warrior, what will he do this time? Comes back. Good use of the hands, looking for another option over the top. It comes that way to Harvey. Harvey just gets his kick in before he's tackled. Is it straight enough? I think it is. The second on the board for the Redlegs. That's the first for Harvey.
Such a damaging player through the midfield, loves to get down and kick a goal, and really cannot afford to be unchecked. Adam Pearce there only needs to be 5 metres away from Harvey. You don't need to give him any space and he'll hurt you, and that's exactly what's happened there. They've centred the ball up into the corridor. A hard-running player really wastes the footy. And he slotted it straight through the middle.
The Eagles have the breeze, but the Redlegs lead by 2 goals to 1 point. Bigland stumps it down. Cunningham just misjudged that one. Sikalella got away a high kick. He caught one after it, by the way, and the free kick goes downfield. So Holland, who had a bit of a stint with Port Adelaide, now finds a home with the Eagles. Forward, Pyman. Inside, on the left, straightens up, goes for goal. That's the team lifter. That's real experience, and Pyman gets the Eagles on the board.
It's exactly why he's in the side. Just had the poise and the presence to realise that he had space around him, faked the handball there, and then doesn't matter whether it's right foot or left foot. As we mentioned before, he rarely wastes the ball and had the opportunity to handball it there. Just created space for himself and slotted it straight through. And one of those players, David, he just looks like he's got all the time in the world, and that's the sign of a very good player.
First major to the Eagles. They're 1-1-7. They trail the Redlegs on 2 straight goals. Good bounce again, gives both ruckman. Oh! Coming in hard was Biglands. Took Yerbury hard. The umpires paid the advantage. Comes out to Tyson. Nearly tackled there by Gavin Colville. Support by the Norwood midfield. Good. Comes out to Kemp. Kemp from 48. Unleashes the kick to the top of the square. Going back. Good use of the body. Good, strong chest mark. Taken by McCarthy.
Excellent use of the body there, and certainly that is an asset in his game. And he showed that in this final series after, probably by his standards, perhaps a mediocre year.
McCarthy keeps the ball just inside the line. Bigland's a big fly over the top. Rogers underneath that.
A couple of key matchups I'm really looking forward to today, David. Gavin Colville and James Tyson on a wing there, and also Robert Pyman, also Robert Neal. Robert Neal, the option Peter Road there to send him forward, but he really is a stopgap man and can play anywhere.
Now, is that Rogers on Warrior?
Well, I mentioned that before, that they may put the experienced Andrew Rogers on Eugene Warrior just to perhaps bustle him out of it early, keep his confidence down, and maybe even verbally intimidate. And I think that's a good move by Mark Micken.
Yerbury thumps it down. James paddled it forward into the path of Crouch, but Ugrinik cut it off. Tries to squeeze it out. Pearce forces it forward. Cunningham's going as hard as a dog at a bone, but he can't get that one out. We're 9 minutes in to the preliminary final of 1999, and the Eagles trail by 5 points.
Bounce down, half forward for the Redlegs. Biglands again, he's pumped up this afternoon. Hitting the ball with great vigour. McCarthy's tackled by Warrior. He's having a good finals campaign as Warrior. Gives it across to Cotton. Just sets the ball up for Pascoe up forward. Running onto it should be Hall. Beaten by the bounce. And it's out of bounds.
Jared Cotton, 3 kicks already, starting to have an influence as we see Lockie Bowman on our screen also came good last week. 3 pivotal marks in the last quarter. and he'll be well matched up on by Brent Fruin, who is a very, very solid defender.
Pascoe takes the ball out of the air. Rogers comes up with it. Whelan just ushers the ball there over that white line. So again, the boundary umpire will start proceedings. Andrew Rogers, maybe his last year, Andrew Pays?
Could go to his 40.
Quite possibly, but then again on his performance so far this year, he's had a very, very consistent season, and he's had a couple of real good finals games, so there's been no reason why I wouldn't see him going again.
Yes, that's a pretty fair point. The way he's played, he could go to his 40. Pearce just lost his footing. Cotton went hard. Pearce went harder again. Bigland's over the top of it. Fumbled that one. Good pressure from Harvey. Causes the spill. Gets away the handball. 2 stats there. Dantokia playing in the defensive zone, now attacking through the midfield. Explodes away and drives towards full forward. Where's Pascoe? Little push and a mark. What's the umpire say? He says it's a push.
Had to be.
Made it a little bit obvious there, and perhaps before the ball was in the area, just a blatant push in the back, and they've set the standard there. They've got to be consistent all day with that now.
Now Hall's got the job on Pascoe, but Fruin was manning him in that contest, so there's some moves in the forward line.
But you can just see them now. They're swapping back there. Brent Fruin got an excellent understanding with Stephen Hall. You take my man when you need it. Now they've just gone back to their respective spots.
Fruin will do the ruck work. Yerbury took front position. Cunningham couldn't take it away. Shirley squeezes it out to Pesh, who drills one low towards Dillon. Gee,
it was almost the same thing, wasn't it? Square in the back.
Yeah, but unlucky there, Christopher. Well, actually, Dillon, that is. Looked very similar to Christopher Kluzak going back about 6 weeks ago when we saw him play with the blonde locks.
Pre-proc side, wasn't it?
It was too. Biglands. Norwood again, just controlling the ball around the 50-50 contest at this stage of the game. They go in Borland for Pascoe. He's got a metre there on Hall. The kick couldn't quite reach his target. And again, the man in white.
Dead right there, Nails, with Norwood controlling the footy in and around the packs. That's their strength. You know, James, Harvey, Cunningham and Kemp, the Eagles must man up and get closer to them in that area.
It's knocked towards the goal square. Eagles through Rogers. Just lays the football out. Colville will have too much pace on this outer side here for Tyson. Tyson just waits on him now, then tackles. Good work there by Tyson. Colville needs a second effort now. Taken high there was Holland. Should have received the free kick. Holland gets, bounces to his feet. Oh, he's a live wire, this young kid from the Peninsula. Comes up towards Pavlik. Just couldn't quite carry. And cutting it off. Number 2 for Norwood was Ben Wilson.
Cotton, short. Gee, they are controlling the ball, Nails. You picked that pretty well. Harvey, back to Wilson. And the Eagles need to start doing some crunching work, because I think the Redlegs have just got their running legs going. Excuse the pun. McCarthy dishes it backwards. Whelan. And the Eagles have a chance to build something. Biglands need support. There's nothing coming. Pearce drops into the hole. That's where the kick goes. They'll welcome him back. They missed him sorely against Port Adelaide. The kick went to Pavlich. Straight lines are required in this match, and Harvey did exactly that. Took the ball away, and Cotton, who's opened up in blinding fashion. Off it goes to Neil, the club's leading goal kicker, now playing in defence. Shirley underneath that one. Good match-up, Shirley and Cunningham. Like that one. Colville, great courage, over the top of it and wins himself a free kick.
Courage, the operative word there. Just puts himself in front of the ball, used his body superbly there, and won himself the free kick.
Pesh taken high by Bowman. Bowman won't mind giving a couple out early. You can understand, but gets through next week. They get through today, they'll be playing in a grand final next week. Good lead there by Pavlich. Takes the football out in front. Gets around. It's a good penetrating kick up forward. Took me out hard. Terrific mark over the top by Christopher Kluzak. One grab by the young fella.
Fantastic mark out in front of his eyes there. We saw him do it last week, take a screamer against Port Adelaide, go back and slot it from 30 metres out. He's a little bit further out this time, but an excellent kick from Pavlik out in front of him. And Christopher Kluzak didn't let him down with a great mark.
27 games, 43 goals. Puts it on its way. It's a high ball. Has he controlled enough? I don't think he has. So the umpire puts up one finger. So the Eagles now move on to 1-2-8. They trail by 4 points over the Redlegs on 2 straight goals.
Matthew Pavlik, David, very, very important player to the Eagles side. He's had an outstanding year, particularly at the start, but he's just quietened down a little bit as the season's progressed. and he really needs to find some footy at centre-half forward if the Eagles are going to be a force today.
Fair point, but I think the day will suit him. The weather conditions are ideal. Look at Harvey just bustling Pearce out of the contest. Pearce did very well to get the kick away, but there was a free kick already. Harvey was held in the contest and dragged to ground.
Yeah, Mark Micken might need to look at just running a player with him, maybe the likes of John Floriani, just to sit with him for a quarter or so, just to curb his influence, because to date already, he's already had, you know, coming up for his 7th kick already. Only 15 minutes in.
Cunningham, Clements. Look at the kick. Hall, drag, and free kick.
That was just terrific anticipation. Stephen Hall left his man and met the footy.
Plays on. Looked to go short. Pavlich was the target. Stephen Pitt is the direct opponent today, and he drills that one to Bowman, who's marked at 50. He could kick this. He goes back to an unprotected goal square, but he flies it high. Underneath this one, McCarthy and Rogers, well, they are steady, aren't they?
Good kick. The kick's not good there by Rogers. Bit of experience gone wild, missing there, as we see Cotton again gets around 3 players and then just places the football out in front of Scotty Bassett. Too easy, Andrew.
Yeah, a couple of kicks there from Andrew Rogers that haven't hit the target, which is very unusual for him. But Jared Cotton, he's enjoying the luxury of playing in the midfield, playing on the ball, rotating at half forward, and he's already had 9 possessions, and he really is proving a factor.
Along with that, he's also kicked a goal, so he has been damaging in this first quarter. So back to Bassett. He's 45 metres out on a 45-degree angle, and the umpire just watches this go through. One finger goes up, so another behind to the Redlegs. 2-1-13. The Eagles 1-2-8.
5 points the margin. Almost 17 minutes played. First term. And Hall surveys the options. McCarthy comes grandstand side, calls for the ball. That's ignored. Instead, the target is out to the far side. And Bigland's 2-on-1 in the contest. Bowman at the back door, but Cunningham with too much pace brings it back into Harvey. Their combination is killing the Eagles, and short it goes. Here's Kemp. So 55 out directly in front, and he is a penetrating kick, Paisley.
No doubt about it. We've seen him play a pivotal role in his final series already for the young fella.
Cotton by himself.
Thank you, fellas. And Cotton, who's already kicked one, mark that down. He is a goal kicker, and he's got 2. So a fine game to Jared Cotton. He's leading the way from the midfield.
The midfielders that we said were going to cause havoc for Norwood are certainly doing that early. They've been given far too much space, far too much latitude. Just see Jared Cotton there, 30 metres on his own. That's not good enough. The Eagles midfielders must man up. They must do it now. Run with their opponents for 5 minutes, otherwise the game will get away from them.
Well, the Eagles really are being challenged at the moment. This midfield of the Redlegs have been so good last 2 games. They've started in great form. This time Bigland's hands the ball to Colville. Colville gives it back to Bigland's. Bigland's running through the middle of the ground. A player has been put down. The umpire has seen the free kick.
Oh, hanging
it's been
on.
held. There's a player down the middle of the ground. I thought it may have been that, but it wasn't. It was back. It may have come back from that. We may have to see that lead. We may have missed it, but we'll just wait now. Christopher Kluzak, he's got 1 for the afternoon. Lines up for his second. He's directly in front, 15 metres out. And that's his second to the young fella.
It's his first.
That is his first. Palmer got the first one.
Dead right. No, I think it was a free kick to him. It definitely wasn't the FAD. Yep. Fleming just held onto him in the goal square. The umpire quick enough to pick it up, and Eagles very, very fortunate there to get a free kick in the goal square to just keep them within touch.
Kevin Chambers indicated clearly that he was held so it was well before the ball came, and he was scragged, and I think the umpires are signalling already their intentions. 2-2 to 3-1. It's a 5-point ball game. The Eagles are sneaking back into this. They looked out of it just in the early stages. Colville stripped by Crouch. The ball was stripped anyway. Hall thumps at the ground, goes back after it, dives on top. Kemp claims him. Now, what does the umpire say here? We'll have another bounce.
Perhaps didn't have the opportunity to get it out there, so ball it up. You see some fans here enjoying the good weather. Summer's out.
Pascoe rucks it down. Kemp claimed. Bassett threw that one away. That was a dead set throw. The umpires let that one go. Pesh goes towards the boundary. That was a clever play, the only play.
didn't have an option up forward. Norwood, who was so good at building up that wall across centre there, and his only option was to go to the line. Experienced player, just needs to be aware of their direct opponents, the Eagles players in the midfield. That's where Norwood are doing the damage at the moment.
Biglan's again just used his body there on Newbury. Good hands from the ground level to Colville. Colville around his body. Dan Toshia just waits and takes. Gives it the Pitt. Pitt, the running Tyson, can go out wide if he wants to Wilson. Dodges and weaves, gets around a play. The kick's not good, but it's found Warrior. Warrior has two players out wide. He goes towards Kemp. Kemp needs to run onto this football. He's got Cunningham inside. Young Cunningham throws the ball out in front. Good umpiring by letting it go. Cunningham just playing for the free kick. Umpire's a little bit smarter than that.
Good umpiring and good pressure from the Eagles. Whelan was the first one that laid on the tackle. Andrew Rogers there. Maybe held on to him just a little bit too long, but it didn't matter. The umpire decided to play on, and good pressure from the Eagles just to wrap that contest up.
Crouch a little bit dizzy.
Obviously copped a high one, perhaps a knee or something.
Newbury, hands down to Cunningham. Quick kick off. Pascoe's in there. Warrior's there as well. He's a slippery little customer as Warrior to Kemp. Kemp left foot high. Who's up there? Cotton nearly took a spectacular grab. Oh, he's appealing for the mark. Come on, umpire. What else do I have to do? Well, maybe hold it. Might be another.
It got up there, did everything right, just dislodged as it hit the ground there. But that was a fantastic attempt. And he really is on fire today, Jaron Cotton. He's feeling good about his footy. As we mentioned before, 9 possessions, 2 goals. He's had a great start.
Newbury again gets his hand on the football. Cunningham has been busy. Left leg, snaps a goal. As you can see, just a little bit too far to the left. So another behind. So 3-2-20. The Eagles 2-2-14. And David, they really are controlling that football. Cunningham, Harvey and Cotton have been outstanding so far in this first quarter.
I guess, Mark, you'll give us the stats on that at quarter time. Very interested to see the midfield stats of the Redlegs versus the Eagles, because I think they're going to be a telling factor. Whelan, high ball, Biglan's giving everything. Good in the contest. Got one hand to that ball. Through and dragged off it. Tyson drives it back deep into the pocket. Front position was Hall, thumped away by Pascoe. Pascoe's second effort was good. Turns it around the corner, across the face of goals, and Warrior and Rogers will get after it. Warrior just inside the line. Very clever. Flicks it to Bassett. Turns it inboard and hook. Bowman. Well, they're just dominant to Paisley almost at every point of the ground.
Eugene Warrior did well then, kept his feet in the contest, got the handball on, and then Norwood have just been able to create space in front of their goals. Seem to be getting out on their own. And we see here Bowman with an opportunity to have a shot for goal, 30 metres out, dead in front.
Well, he kicked a couple last week. He's been pretty handy for them at centre-half forward. With injuries to their regular centre-half forwards, he's been forced to go to that position. I guess there's still a bit of defender in him. He misses.
Well, kicking probably hasn't been his strength over the years, but he has provided a great contest up there at centre-half forward in this final series. And we saw last week where he came down and snuck a couple of goals. But Stephen Hall's doing an excellent job on Andrew Pascoe so far. Pascoe's going to get a lot of opportunities from the Norwood midfielders. He's doing the job.
Again, the 50 contest goes and favours Norwood. Umpires the blind side there, couldn't see the tackle, and the ball spilled free. Up goal will go Biglan's. Too tall for Harvey. Just stood there, waited, knew the big fella was standing behind him. Biglan's takes a good mark. He gets the ball downfield, hugs the line. Coming out there was Pyman. In there was Dillon to Pavlich. Pavlich now can see at the corner of his eye. Player up forward, couldn't quite get it to him. Holland runs on the football now. He needs support. Great tackle from behind by Jerry Dantoshia. And he gets rewarded with a pat on the back from Wilson. A very vocal crowd here, Andrew. They really are supporting this football.
Good numbers here. Obviously no AFL left to go, so they're really getting behind the local competition, and the perfect day to get out here and support your local side.
Crouch dragged to the ground by Whelan. Colville, again, good courage. He's good in that 50-50 contest. Releases the ball to Biglan, who drills it in short, but Pitt marks and plays on. It's a clever play to play Pitt on Pavlich because he's mobile and he plays tall. Harvey, a quick give. Pitt dives on top of it. Ugrinic smothers him. and McCarthy comes in late for the Eagles. So desperate days for the Eagles as they try to slow it down.
It's a super matchup, really, Pitt on Pavlich. Pitt probably giving away a few centimetres, but he does play a lot taller, an excellent marking player, and when he gets the ball, he hurts you running out of defence.
Interesting, Paisy. 7 points the difference, but you would have thought that Norwood were easily the most dominant team.
Yeah, they've just squandered a couple of their opportunities in front of goal in the last 5 minutes. The Eagles have probably only gone inside 50, I would say half, 2 or 3 times, and every time they've done that, they've kicked a goal. So that's certainly what's kept them in the game, but Norwood have definitely had all the play.
Yes, it's a pretty fair point, isn't it? If you can play badly and you're still in the game, the Redlegs haven't been able to kill off the Eagles at this point, and we're 25.5 minutes into the first term. As Biglands and Yerbury go at it again, remember that the Eagles have Wiggins on the bench. Yerbury gets it down to Cunningham, just squeezes a kick forward. Kemp releases Harvey. Gee, they're finding plenty of the ball. And Pascoe, chest mark. It was well positioned and well taken.
Yep. Perfectly well positioned there. Harvey just kicked it out in front of him there, and Pascoe, with his big frame and his strength, was able to hold Stephen Hall off. But once again, we see Harvey there, that option coming through the midfield with no one near him, no one within 10 or 15 metres of him. And that they just can't afford to let that happen. As soon as Norwood, who are controlling the ball around the packs, get possession, the Eagles players need to know exactly where their opponents are.
With Christian O'Brien out with a broken forearm, this fellow's filled the void pretty well. He has kicked 7 just a few weeks ago against South. 2-2 the result for him in the finals. And he lines them up from dead in front and puts it through. The Redlegs are really off to an emotional high.
A good start from them, and a good start from him. He's had a couple of decent duels with Stephen Hall there, but I guess the other players in their side know that they've got that long option there. They can afford to drive it long into attack, into the goal square, and Lenny Pascoe, if he doesn't mark the ball, he's going to be able to provide a contest and bring the ball to the front. But on that occasion there, we saw him take a good mark and an excellent kick for goal, split the middle.
We may go down to Michael Parsons down the boundary line. I see both coaches are yet to use their bench. We've played nearly the first quarter out, Michael.
Yes, that's right, Mark. They know that I just want to sit here and watch this pretty good game of football, and you're right, as Norwood go forward again. It really is their midfield runners, and it's very obvious from down here that Cotton in particular is just chopping them up as they run through the middle of the ground.
Mark Mick and David at quarter time will have a look at that duel with Cotton, and perhaps may need to put maybe Robert Shirley on him.
Yeah,
or even the damaging William, or even young John Floriani just to run with him.
Warrior gets through. Cicolella got him. Play on, said the umpire. The advantage allowed to flow as Rogers streams away from half-back, forces it forward. Pavlich overran that one. Good effort, Crowell. Late inclusion in this lineup, and he's exploding away. Inside the 50-metre square, he goes long towards the goals. How will it bounce? A point. They needed a goal.
Magnificent stuff from Andrew Crowell there. Known as the defender back there, gets his opportunity today at the expense of Ken McGregor, but he just showed his real class and poise there to pull away from that pack. Unfortunately, just couldn't finish off.
Yerbury out wide, just freed up there from Biglands. Worked hard to get to that contest. Good work from behind by McCarthy. Gives it now to Biglands. Biglands can't quite get his boot. A ball for boot before he was tackled there by Bowman. As we see, the ball just goes out over the line, but you're right, down there, Michael, the midfield of Norwood. I think Cotton's had 9 possessions. Harvey and Kemp have both had 11, and Cunningham, the Little Rovers, had 8 so far, so well on top of the Norwood small brigade.
Yes, I think one of the promising things is the way Biglands is starting to play for the Eagles. He's starting to get his hand on the ball, really starting to get on top of Yerbury, and I think if they're going to get back into it and dominate on the ground, then it'll be very important that he maintains that form.
Cigarella couldn't find the space that he needed. Again, he's tackled from behind. Can't find a target again. Over the top was McCarthy. Tackled down by Eugene Warrior. Umpire is letting it go. No, he has, as we hear the quarter-time siren, Andrew. And really is living up to their expectations of a great preliminary final.
Certainly is. Norwood there in front by 12 points. And Eugene Warrior's going to go back and have a crack at this. He's earned himself a free kick there for holding the ball. He's probably going to kick from about 65 out, nonchalantly goes back and really didn't give himself any chance of kicking that goal. But an excellent start to Norwood. They really did dominate the game. They had all the play there and perhaps just squandered a few opportunities there, and the Eagles were good enough to go forward 3 times and kick a couple of goals. But definitely Norwood's quarter, definitely Jared Cotton's quarter, and they were terrific in the midfield.
How do you stop them, Posey? How do you stop the Redlegs runners?
Well, I just think that Mark Micken needs to go one-on-one in the midfield. Needs to start with his blokes shoulder to shoulder in the centre square there. The likes of Colville, Adam Pearce, Justin Ciccoletta, they've got to pick up their man and just run with them for a quarter until they get back on top and gain that momentum, because they're just getting killed in the midfield at the moment by the likes of Kemp, Cotton, Harvey and also Cunningham.
Fair enough. So at quarter time in the preliminary final, the Eagles are 2 goals 3. The Redlegs are 4 goals 3. It's 12 points the margin. You're viewing the preliminary final of
Matthew Kluzak. Of experience also for the Eagles. First bounce, second quarter, preliminary final. The action on ABC Sport. Knocked again towards Cunningham. He's taken high with that tackle. Will receive the free kick. So again, Norwood just getting control. That centre square breaks. Cunningham drives the football up towards Pascoe. He's out front, the big man. Oh, just too big, too strong to jump over, Andrew.
Yeah, just holding down front position there, exactly what Peter Rhodes after. And when you're 6'6" and that strong, doesn't matter what Stephen Hall does, you've got an opportunity there to take the mark, and that's exactly what he's done. But Mark Micken has sensed the danger there of the Norwood midfield. He's got Robert Shirley, who will run with Anthony Harvey, and also Dutchie Holland, who was terrific against Port last week, has got the job on Cunningham.
Pascoe, the left leg, I think he's dragged it across. The umpire has run about 35 metres in his goal square there. So behind to the Norwood side, we see 4-4-28. Eagles still on 2-3-15.
Hall. You just feel the hesitancy in the Eagles. Things not flowing for them just at the moment. It'll be a great character side if they can pull themselves back into shape in this one. McCarthy, who's a real experienced head. Pitt drops to the back door, mops up, flicks it out to Harvey. Inboard to Kemp. Gee, they're combining well in the midfield. Drills it in short. Bowman on the lead. Well, I think he might have dropped that one. Recovered. The second effort was good. Around the corner he goes. Bassett, big fly. McCarthy thumps away. Now it's Pesh for the Eagles. He needs to find a player, and he does so. Dillon is released. He can run. Shirley gives him a shepherd, and Dillon chips it in. Now Pavlich just stopped and waited for that, and Pitt charged at it and took an easy chest mark.
That's experience for you. Stephen Pitt just reads the ball so well when it comes into his area, and then uses it so well, and he's just setting up a number of plays for Norwood already.
Crouch. Bowman just starting to intimidate out there. You can just sense that Norwood, with him a centre-half forward, are a better side. Up towards Pascoe again. 1-2 touches at it, then comes down, looks to give the handball. Good tackling. It took 2 or 3 players. The umpire has to make a decision. He's letting the ball go. Pascoe again at ground level, gives it across the Bassett, around his body. It's high, and it's wide. Another behind to the Redlegs. So 4-5-29 to the Redlegs. The Eagles still 2-3-15.
Eagles defence under enormous pressure. It's just coming in so quickly through those midfielders who are backing their defenders in and sitting in the centre square there and waiting for the likes of Pitt and Dan Tocker to use them on the way out. They're just sending it into their forward line with relentless ease at the moment.
Hall again. Biglands is the target. 2-on-1 in the contest. Yerbury thumps it away from him. Warrior releases Crouch. Holland did very well to drag the tackle across the line. As we go down to Michael Parsons and the Eagles bench.
Yes, you see the same guys sitting there that were there at the start of the game. Wiggins, Floriani and Kluzak. But if I could just mention Stephen Pitt, that is the 2nd or 3rd time today he's dropped off his man and just filled in the hole in front of the full forward. He's doing a fantastic job back there for the Norwood Redlegs.
Fruin, 2 bounces. Dangerous handball to Colville. Colville, again Pitt, very strong on defence. Pavlich comes up with it back to Pesh, who's run on. He releases the football again, just not reading the ball up forward. Now the Eagles players, again we see Kemp goes out wide. Tyson has time. He's got a player in Pitt he can chip the ball over the top to. Pitt really is just doing it too easy. far too easy for the Norwood players.
It's time pays you to get Wiggins or somebody like that to send out forward and just take some pressure off Pavlich.
Just need to provide a contest there, and that's not what they're doing. The forwards aren't leading with any great deal of confidence or conviction, and they're just getting cut off at the pass by Neil and Pitt, who are just reading the ball superbly back there.
So Pascoe kicked 24 goals last year for the Redlegs up forward. So far he's kicked 18 this year. That's his 19th for the season of 1999. He's second for the afternoon.
It's just indicating the classic difference there. He realises that the Norwood midfielders have got control, and he's just leading with real pace and conviction straight up the ground because he knows their use of the ball. So we see Stephen Pitt hit him there, just exactly where he would have wanted it, straight in the corridor, and they really are leading and playing with a lot of confidence at the moment.
Pascoe's got two, leading from full forward and providing the focal point for the Redlegs. Crouch almost snuck away with that. Shirley, who's been moved into the middle. Kemp, who's just knocked up getting kicks, if you don't mind. Cotton, ruck roving and being effective. Whelan, desperate work to Ugrinnick. Ugrinnick and James. That's going to be an interesting one as well today. Ugrinnick dishes it out. Shirley to Pesh, and he's clobbered as he got rid of the kick. The FAD comes down to Pavlich at half forward.
Yeah, Matty Pavic, they're playing in front, getting an opportunity there, but the pressure that the Norwood players are putting on the Eagles in the midfield there is enormous.
Oh, Chris Kluzak signalled the lead, and that's where the ball went. But Harvey recovers, gets it out to Neil, and into space goes the kick. Scratch and Neil goes after it. He needs a bit of support too. They're closing on him. Bowman got there. The handball comes back. Hall over the top with a searching handball to Holland. On the outer wing, brings it back inboard to Biglands. Biglands in turn can bring it further inboard. No, he doesn't. He takes on his man. The big fella did that pretty well. Drills it in long towards full forward. Kluzak underneath that one. Prowl with pace. Off hands and misses. It's a point. A golden opportunity for the Eagles. That would have kept them in touch.
Got himself in the perfect spot there, front and square of the pack. Hit the ball hard and running, but just couldn't finish it off. And it was really one the Eagles needed to go straight through the middle.
He's got a yard of pace, Crowell, hasn't he? He's 189 centimetres tall. It really does. When he gets hold of that football out in front, he does take off with the first 4 or 5 steps are very, very quick.
He won't get much chance to use it again. No, he's just about to come off, and Jeff Wiggins is about to come back on. Yeah, I think you'd see him to lurk around that centre-half forward area and supply the competition that they're so sadly lacking at this point.
He's got to get physical too, Paisley, doesn't he? Which Wiggins can do. The Eagles now need to attack the Redlegs physically to stop them running.
Yeah, well, they're not bringing the ball to ground either. I mean, when it's going forward for the Eagles, Norwood are just being able to mark the footy and maintain control. They at least need to get a 50-50 contest and bring the ball to ground. We see where Brent Fruin's actually moved on to Pascoe to try and curb his influence. Stephen Hall's moved out to centre-half back, and he's got Lockie Bowman. So Mark Micken certainly not being afraid to ring the changes at the moment. Something's got to happen. And he's got to try and provide contests all over the ground.
Eagles again. Ugrinnick, left leg down the line, looking for Colville. Great tussle out there between Gavin Colville and James Tyson. But you said the Eagles at the moment, they're just being out-hustled. I said that 50-50 contest, the midfield still on top. But you're right, Andrew, just need to start hitting that ball a little bit harder than what they are. Get some intensity back into this game, bit of desperation. This is a preliminary final. The winner goes through and plays the Maggies next Sunday at 2:20.
Ugrinnick streaks away, 55 out, drills it in towards full forward. Chris Kluzak couldn't get there. Nails was calling for a push, but it wasn't coming. Wilson got away the handball. Fleming did very well on Kluzak. Well done, Dale Fleming. Desperate defensive work. Sikalella comes back inboard, escapes the tackle from Clement, straightens up, drills it in short. Clever play, young man. And Ugrinnick, who set it all up. Oh, well, was it touched? Did Pitt get there? No, says the goal umpire. It's a goal to the Eagles. It's the one they wanted. An emotional comeback.
Great poise there from young Sikalella, and excellent defensive work from Dillon to hold the ball in the area. They're outnumbered there, the Eagles, 3-1, Dillon kept the ball in the area. The ball spilt free to Sikalella, who had the poison class to sum up Adam Ugrinik, who'd worked hard off his wing to provide an option in the goal square, and he didn't let him down with the goal.
Well, changes. Wiggins moves into ruck. He'll thump this football. He gets his hand to the football. Colville's not in there. Shirley's been moved into the midfield. It goes out wide. The foot race. Jerry Dantoshia and Sikalella, neither player, have been able to take the football, and it's out of bounds over the white line. We see Biglands has been moved up forward in the goal square. With him is Christopher Klusak. Another change been made by the Eagles, Michael Parsons.
Yes, Jason Dillon coming off to make way for John Floriani. I think I'd like to see Biglands playing a little bit further up the ground. They've got him camped in the goal square. You watch, you'll mark this one as it goes forward now, I've said that.
Fleming from behind, Pitt from the front. It sits for Pavlich. He steadies, sets it up, pushes it across the face of goals. It's out of bounds on the full.
Needed to come to the top of the square there. Biglands moved forward. He had no other option, but still should have pushed it to the top of the square. That would have been the option.
Short to Harvey. Gee, Shirley's just...
Shirley stopped.
Well, he corralled him.
He's lucky there.
He was fortunate. Harvey recovered beautifully. Just shovels it out to Cotton, who works hard. Kluzak's got him. Biglands recovered. Biglands did very well, the big man. Second, third and fourth efforts were terrific.
He has been very good. And what he'll be used as a second option in the forward line there, they'll use Chris Kluzak as the running full forward who will lead up the ground. Biglands will come back into the goal square there, play the second option for the longer, more penetrating kick.
Yes, they're just trying to unsettle the Redleg defence. Not a bad ploy by Mark Micken. Yerbury thumps it down. Cotton, who has been prolific today. Bassett claimed, got the handball away. James, well, he's always clever with his hands. Cotton fakes on the right and goes on the left, but well done, Pesh, who tracked him down. James gets away handball. The Eagles are applying pressure of their own now. This is working for them.
They have lifted. It's exactly what Mark Micken would have asked of them at quarter time. Just put pressure on the player all over the ground. Their tackling's lifted. We just saw there 3 contests. Eagles players right onto it. So they really have lifted their endeavour and their intensity in this last 5 minutes.
It's a dogfight. There's biting there, scratching at ground level. This is great football. Eagles again. They've got to hit it harder. Holland. Whelan throws his body around. Sikalella comes in late just to keep the ball in the area. And we see Norwood making changes also, Michael Parsons.
Yes, Borley is just about to come on for his first run. And it's, in fact, Jared Cotton who's going to just take a rest after working so hard across the middle of the ground.
Well, he's had 15 possessions or 14 possessions.
What Michael Aish was talking about a quarter time, though. Hot day, rotating their midfielders, keeping them fresh.
I think that's exactly what they're doing. Certainly wouldn't be coming off for any other reason.
A little bit of fire out there for the Eagles. The player down at the base of all of this, I think it might be...
This will suit the Eagles. They just need to take the heat of the game and the pace of the game away from Norwood, who really have dictated terms. And they'll be quite happy just to slow it down, regroup, get themselves back into this contest.
Wiggins hand the football. Ugrinik taken without the football. The umpire very quick to blow his whistle. You can hear the support. There's many Eagles supported here for their side. Pavlich should take this out in front. It's just too big. He just has to take those. His giving Pitt would have to be, what, 3 or 4 or 5 inches taller than Stephen Pitt. Just a fella. I know he's 17. It's hard to say, but he's injured.
Yeah, it's time for him to have a little rest, I would say, boys. He just isn't supplying the contest and the commitment at the ball that's required in a preliminary final.
Good point, Michael. It's not whether you get winning or losing. You've really, at centre forward, you've just got to compete, create opportunities for the runners. And I think that's a fair point you made. That one's out of play, but gee, the stretcher is out, so he's not well. He copped a heavy knock to the back of the head.
So we just have a look at the replay there. It didn't look to be real severe at this stage, but obviously the young fella is hurt.
I think he hit his head on the ground.
It might have been the boot of Floriani.
Oh, okay.
Just as he came down, Floriani was coming across the face of that pack as he was pushed. I think that might have happened.
As you know, Paisley, the Pavliches are as tough as old boots.
They are, yeah. Mark Naley's called it dead right. He's landed on John Floriani, who is a very good mate of his, right onto his knee as he was coming through there. It wasn't in the contest at all, so they're certainly not in good shape at the moment, but they are a tough family. There's no question about that. His father, they called him the Raging Bull.
Yep.
Steve at half forward played a number of games for the Eagles.
Half back,
and,
really.
Yeah, half back, half forward.
Well, he was tough.
And there's no doubt about that, but it's never good to see the young fella. He's obviously feeling the wears of John Floriani's knee. He hasn't moved there, so
he's still out cold.
This will force Mark Micken to reshape his forward line. Michael Parsons was talking about restructuring as well.
It's not good for the young fella. He's had a very good season in his first year of SANFL football.
he led with that ball with a bit of conviction there. Stephen Pitt just couldn't quite get there. He didn't hold on to it. And Mark Micken will just have the opportunity now just to work out exactly what he wants to do with that forward line.
Pacey, you've been around a long time. Have you ever seen a 17-year-old 38 goals in his debut season? I can't recollect a youngster having such an impact in the forward line.
No, I think you did right, and the majority of those goals were kicked in the first half of the season as well, so he certainly did burst onto the scene and make a real name for himself. There's no doubt that he is an outstanding talent. He's got a wonderful career in front of him. He's just been shut down a little bit as the season's evolved, as the opposition opponents have had a good close look at him and just made sure they know exactly where he is at any given time.
Yeah, fellas, just down here at ground level, they've put the neck brace on Matthew Pavlich, so obviously could have done something to his neck as he fell just then. There's also going to be a couple of interchanges made. Ben Wilson has come off to make way for Todd Davey for Norwood, so he'll get his first run at football for a few weeks and he'll find a position for himself in the back line, and it will be Matty Kluzak that'll come on into that forward line to take Pavlich's place.
Well, this is sickening. He launches into it, loses his balance and comes down under pressure. Well, he doesn't lose his balance. Pitt just applied enough pressure. But Floriani inadvertently tries to change direction and get out of his way. Yeah. Just catches him with the knee.
Just copped it in the back of the head, didn't he? And obviously, though, there's some concerns over his neck, so they put the brace on him.
Well, back with the action. Kraus takes it. Look to give it to Harvey. Then goes with the kick. Bowman just stands, puts the big frame out. Now Ugrinnik, he needs to use the football. He does that now in the line. Kluzak has the sit. Couldn't bring it to ground. Good work by Holland. He's a class little player. Back to Matty Kluzak, who's come on there for Pavlich. Up forward was the big fella on Biglands. Now he's been picked up by Pitt, so he's moved to centre-half forward.
I guess not only is it going to reshuffle the Eagles forward line, but Peter Rode will need to watch closely his matchups. Stephen Pitt, they're giving away inches and inches to Rec Biglands, and if he can provide a contest and bring the ball to ground, that'll certainly favour the Eagles. John Floriani's come onto the ground and immediately he's had an impact, David, just laying on tackles and being close and hard, and that's exactly what Mark Micken will be looking from him.
I think he made the call early, midway through the first quarter. Perhaps they could have used him just to slow down some of the dominance of the Redleg midfield. Pesh turns it around the corner. Who's underneath this one? Pyman bustles hard. He works hard for his possessions. Kluzak over the top of it, just bundles it out in the direction of Floriani. We are almost 17 and a half minutes into the second term. 12 points, 13 points the margin when it was 12 points at quarter time. So the Eagles have been able to stay in touch. So the ball comes back in. Bigland's front position. It was Yerbury who won that one down. Pesh skirts it around, dishes it out. Colville, a high one, and a lob right on the point of the 10-metre square. Front position, it's taken, and Kluzak's got it. This is Chris Kluzak.
See his brother there excited for him. He's just come on the ground, Matthew, replacing Matthew Pavlich there. But eyes for the ball only there, young Chris Pavlich. He really is a strong player. Seen him take a couple of excellent marks already today.
22 goals for the season, 1 goal, 3 against Port. He won't miss this one. Well, the Eagles are still in touch, aren't they? They've revamped their forward line and their midfield, and it's working for them as Kluzak gets his second.
Yes, and they're certainly making the most of their opportunities. And Nick Pesh is a player in the midfield there, probably clearly beaten in the first quarter by his respective opponent. He's starting to get on top and get his hands on the footy, and when he does that, he uses it very, very well on most occasions, and he's starting to have a real big influence in the game. He's had 8 possessions this quarter, so the Eagles midfield really have shut down their respective opponents and are now starting to get some possessions themselves.
7-point margin. The Norwood Redlegs are still in front. Jonathan Yerbury Up against Wiggins.
And now it's just before it restarts. So just an update on Matthew Pavlich. They have taken him down to the rooms, just talking to him, assessing whether he'd be in a condition to come back on the ground or not.
Pearce goes forward, lays it out, going back Jerry Dantoshia, safe mark. Goes out wide, the running pit. Mightn't have the height for Biglands, but he definitely does have the pace to break away. Good kick over the top. Whelan just did enough there to keep the ball in the area.
He did well there. He was out of position. Borlase certainly had the opportunity with the body on him there. And Whelan was just strong enough to hold his ground, get a hand to it and force it out of bounds.
ABC television bringing you this one throughout South Australia and the Northern Territory. Hope you're enjoying it. Stay with us till 6 o'clock. Put your feet up. Shirley dishes it out to Colville on the left booty. They're just sneaking it forward by centimetres, Eagles. They're really grinding it out.
Well done,
did very well. Good courage. Matty Kluzak forces it into space. I guess that's the instruction, isn't it? Go to space and let the Eagles runners run. Pesh had it palmed out to him from Pyman. Fleming was good. Clements towards the boundary line. Crouch claimed and straight across the line. What does the umpire say? Throw it in.
They're just putting more pressure on them all over the ground. Every time a Norwood player's got the ball, there's an Eagle player right next to him. That's what Mark Micken's done. He said, you match up, you run with your respective opponent this quarter.
Biglands down to Pesh. He crashes through, gets the handball out, but it's smothered by Pitt, claimed by Kemp. Now he measures the kick, and Tyson was the target just inside the line. Well, isn't there a transformation over this game?
Certainly has. They've really lifted their work rate. Just going one-on-one, and one area I think has been in the hit-outs, David, 10-4 favouring the Eagles this quarter. Jeff Wiggins has gone onto the ball, and Rick Biglands has had a rest up forward, and he has started to take over in the middle.
Pearce to Sikalella. Sikalella was calm in the crisis, evaded 3 tackles and forces it up. Chris Kluzak has got it. That is a big grab, Chris Kluzak, and he's already kicked a couple. And a 25-metre penalty will put him right on the goal line, and a certainty to put it through. Well, we talked about the changing complexion of this game. They're 7 points down, and a goal here after that big mark puts them just the 1 point down, and Kluzak's got 3.
Super stuff. We've talked about, I'm getting excited now, talked about the influence of the midfield there, but every time the ball's gone in his 5-metre zone, he's marked the ball. He had one opportunity in the first quarter and took a super catch, went back and kicked the goal. And on 3 occasions that the ball's gone forward, he's just taken fantastic marks, gone back and kicked the goals, and just what the Eagles needed.
Well, we may go down to Michael Parsons, but both coaches making changes, Michael.
Yeah, it's just one of them actually. Peter Road has made a couple. He's interchanged Ruckman. Down was going to have his first run for the afternoon, replacing Yerbury, and Cotton has come back on. Crouch has made way for him.
Pearce, Sikarella takes it, he needs support, he goes back to Hall. Hall can see Biglands. The big fella puts in the short steps. He'll be taken by Pitt. He needs players to run over with him. Finally gets the ball to the ground, then kicks it out. He's gained about 35 metres for the Eagles.
Well done by the big fella there. He slipped over. Pitt was right on his hammer, and he just needed to get the ball out of the zone, and he did that. Got some valuable yardage.
Downsborough and Biglands again. Biglands gets his hands to the football, brings it down in front. But just seeing it out over the line is James Tyson. So again, the boundary umpire will get back. Wiggins comes across. Biglands falls back. It's a warm day out there. Players need their rest again. He's been good since he's come on as Floriani. Just releases the ball now to Ugrinik. Ugrinik will kick it high. The jumping Kluzak. Where is he? Where's Matthew? His brother. He's got it. Matthews has it. Goes around. Steps around the player. Puts it on the boot or over his left shoulder. That's his first major for the afternoon. Fellas, the Eagles are in front.
Well, it's turning into a Kluzak festival up there. Christopher, both Matthews only just come onto the ground. And we know whether the ball's in the air or on the ground, they're both very, very versatile and nimble players there. Matthew Kluzak, front and square of the pack, just strength to break off the Jerry Dantokia tackle, had the presence of mind to get around and snap it over his right shoulder there. The boys are pumped. Adam Ugrinik, another player in the midfield, David, that's really starting to have an influence. 7 kicks this quarter.
Fair enough. Well, the Eagles have hit the front. This has turned this game into a very interesting affair. Hall pushes it forward. Sikalella's having an influence in this quarter.
Great kick.
And a ripper kick. Look at this. Underneath it and finds Whelan. Whelan is on the grandstand wing looking for targets. Biglands gives him one. That's ignored. Here comes Pyman from full forward. The long option taken. Pyman will set himself at Pitt in front position.
Well, Norwood, really, Stephen Pitt, he's been terrific back there so far. Just again, getting himself into the right spot, and he's a fantastic mark.
Well, here's the switch in play. Harvey to Fleming, and to the boundary line it goes. So things are just unravelling a little bit for the Redlegs.
Just under that little bit more pressure that the Eagles are applying, they're holding the ball in the area, and rather than their defenders getting easy, free-flowing kicks and run from defence, the Eagles players are there putting pressure on them.
Downsborough takes it out of ruck, handballs it forward. Pearce gets the handball further afield, and Colville off the ground just gains valuable meterage. About 25 metres out from the Eagles' goals. We are 24.5 minutes into the second term.
Ball's in. Again, Bigland's up there with Downsborough. Harvey's been quiet this quarter. Plays over the top. It coming across was Pyman. Back there is Dan Toshia. Davey around his body up forward. Neil couldn't take the mark. Colville will come in and take it. Good second effort by the Norwood's defence. Player taken without the footballer, Sikalella. He's paid the free kick. Norwood player down. It may be Neil. The umpire's called play on. They've called for the stretcher for the Norwood player. I'm pretty sure it's Neil. I'll just wait and see. Umpire should really blow this siren, not siren, but blow his whistle, stop proceedings. The player is down, and they are calling for a stretcher.
You don't like to see this, Paisley, at all.
No, you never like to see a guy on the ground. Obviously, Matthew Pavlich has come off previously in the quarter, and Robert Neal not looking like he's going to be going too far either. It looks like a cop one around the head.
No, mate, I reckon he's broken his leg just from the way it looked down on the boundary line.
Oof. I hope not with it. Just trying to straighten.
Just wouldn't have thought they would be mucking around with it too much there if he has done severe damage to his leg.
Look, we'll have a bit of a look at it from different angles. That's where he goes down. And his leg was caught underneath him. He went straight for his ankle or his shin.
Just looked like underneath his sock, he had it heavily strapped there as well. So perhaps there's a little bit of a weakness there, and just fell a little bit awkwardly there on his right ankle. So obviously he's carried there.
He's grabbed the left one.
Got the left one, yeah.
That's what I thought. That's the one that's straightened out. So he may have just twisted it.
Gee, injuries are a variable in finals, aren't they? To get through to a grand final, you've got to have a lot of luck and some good players and depth.
Now, both clubs, fellas, have got the players together. You don't see this too often. We've seen a couple of stretcher cases in the second quarter. The Eagles are just bunched together. The Eagles players also just bunched together. But, Michael, you don't see that too often.
No, but Malcolm Blight would be pretty pleased, mate. The first time out in Australian rules football.
It's going to be a long quarter.
To be fair, though, it's not a funny affair. You just hate to see this. Athletes who have worked a season, working hard for a grand final berth, coming off on a stretcher.
You imagine the Magpies coach, Stephen Williams, sitting somewhere up in the members' stand this afternoon, just watching this, rubbing his hands together, watching these two sides really have a red-hot go.
I just think until we know the extent of the injury, we can't really make comment. We saw last week two players come off on a stretcher, Anthony Harvey and also Paul McCormack, which looked like they had severe injuries. 10 or 15 minutes later, they're back on the ground, having an influence on the game. So until we get a real report on exactly what's happening, we can't write them off yet. But nevertheless, when you're coming off on a stretcher, obviously something severe has happened.
Peter Rhodes certainly just lamenting the fact that he now needs to rework his back half. Paul McCormack, by the way, couldn't play today. We believe, Nails, he had a fit out on the ground last week.
Yeah, I was just speaking to the doctor before the game, and he indicated that he did have a fit on the ground. The umpire wasn't aware of it, but was told by the trainers afterwards. We're back with the action now. This will be a long quarter. It'll be into about 30, at least 35 minutes. Well, this game could be quite long. Up towards Kluzak once again. Beautifully read there by Ugrinik. The pace is there. He lays it out there for Kluzak. Hasn't carried quite enough. Kluzak pushed as he went for that football. Colville, the Eagles have the numbers. Matty Kluzak has dropped back. He has to jump to sit, and the mark. Umpire calls play on. Round the body, and James takes a safe grab right on the last line of defence. Gives it across now to Pitt. Pitt down to Kemp. Kemp should take this. He's got Yerbury short. Comes inboard. Jerry Dan Toshia. Dantoshia goes wide, so they're going from one side of the ground to the other. 31 is Bassett, takes 2 bounces. Being chased now by Floriani, then releases the kick. Up forward, looking for Bowman. Lockie Bowman takes it in front of Hall. Centres the football. Out front is Rogers. The Eagles' backline haven't seen much of it in this quarter. Oh, good work by Bowman. Just smothers that ball. Good work by Holland. Inside again. Eagles through Wiggins, goes out wide. Mark nearly taken again by Floriani. Davies, who came on in the second quarter, gives it across now to Kemp. Kemp takes it, goes up forward once again. Bowman is working hard to get this football in. Warrior takes it. Great tackle by Rogers. Crouch gets it. Great desperate football by both sides. Comes up again, Norwood, who's up forward for him. Big Pascoe, Crowell, and also Fruin. Fruin sees it through for a rush behind.
Been a good move by Mark Micken, putting Brent Fruin back there. Just got that extra height that Stephen Hall didn't have, and he's done a good job on Pascoe this quarter, who's had limited opportunities.
Wide, Colville, who's covering plenty of ground. He's going to turn, I think, into an important player in this match. The kick, however, didn't have a target. Yeobury juggles it. Play on, said the umpire. Ugrinic picks it up. Needs to come inboard, takes off with explosive pace. And he ran his distance too. How far did he run? Yep.
Well, he had to do it, had to back himself in there. He had no options up forward, and we all know how fast he can run. He just forgot to bounce it on that occasion.
As we go down to Michael Parsons.
Yes, and while Robert Neal was coming off on a stretcher, I'm not sure what happened to Ian Downsborough. He's snuck off the ground and he's getting treated for a fairly serious blood nose on the Redlegs bench.
James. Dantoshia at half-back. Back after injury. So I think he'll be hunting a grand final berth. Wide to Yeobury, who's really shaping up as one of the Redlegs' better players in this match. Towards full forward he goes. Warrior threw that one away. Bowman forward. Clements, clever, and goals. Well, you won't see many better recovery goals than that. Clements puts the Redlegs back in front.
Well done by Clements, and half-back flanker loves to get down and kick a goal. Did that on 2 occasions last week, and he's done it again today, but good presence in the square. Norwood just really worked hard for this goal. Held the ball in the area there. Perhaps maybe got a favourable bounce over the top of Fruin's head, but he was good enough to hang on to it and slot it straight through the middle. He was pretty excited. Just brought out the windmill there.
Made famous.
Made famous by David Mackay, 1984 Reserves Grand Final.
Yeah.
Well, he thinks it was anyway.
Oh, that's right.
That's the main thing.
Yeobury, Wiggins. Wiggins looks at Yeobury, then puts the football down to Cunningham. Cunningham takes it, thumped over the top by Kemp. Kemp goes the ball ace. Good work by McCarthy. They're running in numbers, the Redlegs midfield. That was Cunningham again over the top. This time the ball favours the Eagles. Rogers takes, he's got Colville out wide. He goes over the top. He needs to take this. He does. And coming board to Whelan. Decides for Pesh. He'll come across to Fruin. Fruin's just found a little bit of space there on Pascoe. He'll give it out in front of Ugrinic. The ball should sit. It does. But this time will he take on? He won't take on James. Goes up forward to Matty Kluzak. He'll be supported here if he can by Wiggins. Wiggins couldn't quite get to there. Fleming's taken one high. The ball's out over the boundary line.
And just with Robert Neal, it's all ducks and drakes with the Norwood trainers. I spoke to 3 of them trying to get the inside story. Somewhere between a tweaked ankle, a dislocated knee and a broken leg. We'll find out a bit later on.
Normally they tell you it's a broken rib or it's just bruising. Dantoshia got it from Harvey. Harvey's been a little quieter this term. Hall needs support, ducked the chutney. Got it out to Pearce, he did pretty well. Back to Hall in the double play, it was good work. Where's Floriani?
Oh, not there.
No, I think Colville needs to work hard at this one. Tyson came in solidly. Good support from Hall, he got to the contest.
He knew he had to make amends for the kick beforehand. Not one of his better ones, and certainly just drove in a little bit harder there to make sure he kept the ball in the area. So good work by Stephen Hall. Adam Ugrinic and Roger James has been an enthralling contest. The pace of Ugrinic's worried him a little bit, but Roger James, we know, doesn't need too many possessions there to hurt the side.
Yeobury down, Harvey away. Almost a one-hander taken by McCarthy. But James, deep into the pocket it goes. That one will go out of play. We have played 33.5 minutes into the second term. And this is down to a 2-point ball game as we approach half-time.
You see there the Eagles wingman about 29 possessions between the two of them. That's Colvin, also Ugritic. Norwood boys have only had 15. Warrior. Ball smothered. A chance again. Need support again, the Eagles. They've got it coming through Hall. Hall should go wide. He does over the top. A beautiful kick by Hall. Finds Matthew Kluzak. He's been good since he's come on. He just really has created some space and given them another option up forward.
Has been good. He came on 2 weeks ago and had 30 possessions after quarter time against Glenelg.
Intelligent play. They can run through Pearce. Another string to the bow this week. The kick wasn't good over the top. Tyson will sit. It does favour him again. Pyman comes over the Colville. Colville sits. Goes with the kick. It was rushed. Maybe a little bit too quick. It's through for another behind. So 41 plays 42. We have a 1-point ball game still favouring the Redlegs.
Gavin Colville, 18 possessions just before half-time. You'd certainly say that he's had the better of that duel between him and James Tyson, the Crows wingman.
Dantoshi to Kemp. He just drills that ball. No room for error. Shirley to Kluzak. Colville.
Oh,
Too high. What's the umpire say? Yep, dropped him high.
Yeah, a little bit fortunate there, Gavin Colville. Had an opportunity to get rid of the ball there, but the tackle was very, very good. Just got him a little bit high on that left arm.
So Colville towards full forward pit front position. He's good in that spot. Desperate work by Pyman, holds the ball in the area, but in doing so, he's given away a free kick against Tyson.
Norwood come away with it from defence. 2-on-1 here. Ugritic again, too much pace. Good work by Ugritic. Now set, steadies. Heads across the top. Where is Big Wiggins? The mark's been taken. No, it hasn't. The umpire sounds off. And we have a 1-point ball game, Andrew.
Yes, nothing in it there. The Eagles certainly got back into that ball game there right just before quarter time, and we've got a great contest on our hands now.
So at half-time in the preliminary final, it's Norwood 6-6. The Eagles are 6-5. You're watching preliminary final action on ABC TV Sport. What a game it is. I hope you're enjoying it. At half-time, it's a 1-point ball game. I don't know that we would have thought that at quarter time as Andrew Pays rejoins us. Paisy, what a great quarter for the Eagles. They really have gotten themselves back in the game.
No way known we expect that. We knew where they had to lift, and that was certainly in the midfield. Norwood slaughtered them there in the first quarter, but they really got on top, just provided that one-on-one 50-50 contest and gave opportunities to Chris Kluzak at the goal front, who didn't let them down.
Couldn't pick out a winner at half-time, could you?
No way known. It's just been a really even contest. First quarter, Norwood too strong. That quarter there, the Eagles really got their game pattern going and looked like they might set up something in this next half.
Injuries have certainly been a factor.
They certainly have. Young Matthew Pavlich came off, which looks like to be a pretty severe injury to the head, which is not always good to see, and just looked like he collected it on his way down there, the knee of young Floriani, so he certainly wouldn't play any further part in the game. And also, conversely, Robert Neal coming off with a serious leg injury for Norwood. So two key players there leaving the ground.
Fair enough. We'll stay with us throughout half-time as we go down to Michael Parsons for one of his interviews.
Yes, thank you, David. And with me, the injured Norwood midfielder in Scott Doreen. Scott, speaking of the midfield, the boys had a fantastic start, the guys that rotate through that part of the ground, but they did fall away. Where do you see them going in this third quarter?
Yeah, I think, Michael, 15 minutes in that second quarter, Ugritic and Colville and players like that got on top, and I think, you know, Tyson and Roger James were on top early, but to Eagles' credit, they did get on top, and that's where we've got to win the ball and win the game is across the centre. So hopefully the boys can come out and win in those positions.
And what tactics do you see Big Gerber taking into the third quarter to try and get some ascendancy around the ground?
Yeah, I think he's just got to, you know, try and jump over Wiggins, because with Bigland's going to centre half forward really lifted the Eagles. So I think Yerbs has just got to jump over the top and really we've got to get the ball out of the centre and get it down to Pascoe as quick as we can.
And he's been good, Big Pascoe, later in the season for you. And he's always a hard man to get around when he gets that big body in front.
Yeah, well, Lenny just sort of keeps it basic. If he doesn't mark it, he brings to the front, and you know, and that's where Cunningham and Eugene Warrior and players like that come into the game. And you know, Rogers has done a great job on Eugene so far, but hopefully Eugene can come out, and he only needs 5 or 10 minutes of good footy and can kick 3 goals. So we're hoping he can do that.
And any positional changes that you would make if you were the coach, Scotty?
No, I think we just still got to go with our same setup, and the Eagles sort of, you know, they try and play one-on-one footy, so I think we just got to back our players in, and hopefully we can win in those areas.
Scotty, thanks very much for sharing your thoughts with us. Thanks.
Thanks, Michael. Thank you to Scott Doreen, who's out with an AC shoulder injury, an AC joint palsy. They have, well, you'd think they'd miss him, but they've done pretty well in the back half.
They certainly have. I mean, they've got the injection of Davian Dantokia there, and Doreen another one that'll knock on the door if they make the granny.
And we're going to make Michael Parsons just work a little bit harder as we go back down to him again.
Yes, thank you. And with me now, the General Manager of the Eagles Football Club, Colin Casey. Colin, you'd be pretty pleased with the weather that's been turned on and the performance in that second quarter.
Yeah, it's much better, Michael. I could borrow that hat, though. I might get a bit sunburned here. Yeah, we looked a bit out of it. Our accountability was down and we weren't using the ball. Our decision-making was questionable. But we fought back after Matthew Pavlik went down, and for our Eagle supporters out there, he's well. He's awake, and the neck brace was a precautionary action.
But again, it was mentioned before, it has been the midfield on this big football park that's been critical. Who of the Eagles players do you see being contributing in this third quarter?
Well, I see Matthew Whelan, Adam Pearce being a little bit more direct. Justin Sikalela's starting to get his hands on the football, and he's very creative. Pesci, of course. And just anyone in the Eagles jumper has to do their little bit. It's a team game, and if we've got more contributors, we'll win the game.
And as a General Manager, you're hoping for one more week of hard work, there's no doubt about that. But what's in store for a General Manager over the next month or so?
Well, the next month, hopefully a grand final. We've got a couple of major functions coming up. The club championship. Our under-17s went top. Congratulations, boys. Well done to the under-19s for their terrific performance during the year. We've got our wind-ups, club championships, seniors and juniors. And then we have financial reports and annual reports to get out prior to Christmas.
It sounds like a pretty busy time, but I know that there's one function that the ABC commentating team are particularly interested in.
Yes, the grand final, grand five, grand night, Saturday week for the grand final leave show. Come along and see all our legends. Hank, Bills, Blight and Head. Inducted will be Andrew Plays into the Hall of Fame at the Eagles.
It sounds like it's going to be his turn to buy the beers, David.
I think it might be. Thanks to Colin Casey for that. Paisy, big night to look forward to. Grand final eve.
Oh, it certainly will be a terrific occasion, and we're all looking forward to it, and even more so if the Eagles can make the grand final. We won't have to move. We'll stay there and come straight down onto the ground. 2 nights of celebration, so that's here at Football Park. Yes, it is the Saturday night before, so it won't be hard to get up for those, I don't think.
I think you might have a headache grand final day as we come a little closer to home, and we look to Andrew Pascoe when he kicked that goal for the Redlegs in the early stages of the third quarter. It was looking very ominous indeed for the Eagles.
Yeah, he was, and just like Scotty Doreen said, all they're looking for is a contest. But just the delivery of Stephen Pitt there, absolutely spot on. There's nothing that Stephen Hall could do, and Pascoe led straight up the ground, led up hard, knew that he was going to get the opportunity and didn't let his teammates down. We talked about the Eagles needing some emotion back into the game. I thought when Sikalala pushed this one off to Ugrinnick and the Eagles got a goal, I thought it might have just been the spark, and it proved to be exactly that. Terrific poise and class from the young fella. His balance is excellent there. Adam Ugrinnick, who's worked really hard off his wing, made that extra yard to get down in the goal square there, provide that option, and Sikalala hit him with a perfect pass. We've already heard from Colin Casey that Matty Pavlich is fine injury-wise. He was carried off on a stretcher, but it was a sickening sight to see it as he went down. I think a lot of Eagles fans were really had their heart in their mouth. Well, I guess we were perplexed as to how it happened, David. It didn't look anything severe in the contest with Pitt, and it wasn't, but just having a look at the vision here was actually the left knee of young Floriani that collected him flush on the back of the head, and obviously doesn't look too good there, but Colin Casey giving all the Eagles supporters some good news, looking like he might be okay. And I guess if there was a hero in the second term for the Eagles up forward, it was Chris Kluzak. No doubt about that. He took some fantastic marks, took one in the first quarter, and we just see here Gavin Colville, who were getting it high into the goal square there, but young Chris Kluzak just showing his strength, eyes on the footy all the way there, held his ground and strength, and went back and kicked the goal, so he certainly has been very important for them up forward. And Matty Kluzak started the game on the interchange bench, and I thought when he came on, he gave them a little bit of drive, he gave them a little bit of oomph, and got one great snap. It was a good finish. Certainly did, and he would be dirty that he was on the bench, no question about that. He came onto the ground in the game against Glenelg, got 30 possessions after quarter time, but had an immediate impact there. That's just a great piece of crumbing work, front and square of the pack, had the strength to be able to get around onto his right foot there and kick the goal, and he certainly did make a big difference when he came on. And I thought when Robert Neal went off deep in the defence for the Redlegs, they lost some momentum as well. They did. Their defence was outstanding there, as we just see him his right ankle there, which looked like to be severely strapped.
It's his left ankle.
Anyway, just, oh, sorry, there's left one there. He's just fell awkwardly on it, and he's grabbed it there, and it took 5 minutes for him to come off the ground. So hopefully for his sake that it's not too bad and he gets an opportunity next week if they make it.
And if you've just joined us and you don't know what the scoreboard read at half-time, have a look at this, because it's a one-point ball game and a very exciting game. It's 6-5 to 6-6 at half-time in the preliminary final.
Yes, certainly Norwood had all the play there in the first quarter. The Eagles fighting back. As we have a look at the goal kickers there for the Eagles, Chris Kluzak, that is, with 3, Robert Pyman with 1, Matthew Kluzak won that quarter, Adam Ugrinik 1 from his wing, and for Norwood, Jared Cotton 2 in the first quarter, Pascoe 2, Harvey the captain 1, and Clements from his half-back flanks got a goal as well.
Mark Nailey's been having a look at the stats. Nails, we talked about the inside 50 in the first term. Well, the Redlegs were in front at quarter time, but the Eagles have really levelled it up by half-time.
Yes, David, just see there that once again the Eagles got back into that game, but Norwood's still leading on the stats as far as the kicks and handballs are concerned, but they are being pursued by the Eagles there. Mark still favouring the Redlegs. Free kicks for the Eagles, just 1 in front. It's been a very good umpiring exhibition so far today. Hit-outs, well, Norwood's big man in Newbury still getting on top with 22 compared to both Biglands and also Wiggins with 17. Centre square breaks are pretty even, and inside 50, as we see, just 1 more to Norwood, so it's pretty close encounter.
Thanks, Nails, for that. As we go down to Michael Parsons, we see Robert Neal in the bunker for the Redlegs with his ankle up. Michael, you might be able to give us an update.
Yes, I spoke to 3 of the trainers, as I mentioned before, and typical Norwood trainers, it was just a tweaked ankle. I think it was a little bit more serious of that, but as soon as we get restarted, we'll wander along, have a chat, and see if we can find out exactly what the prognosis is for Robert Neal.
Michael, don't run away. We're interested in the breeze. The Eagles had it in the first term, but really didn't use it. How strong is it at ground level?
Right where we're standing in this forward pocket where it's impossible to kick a goal from at Football Park, there's hardly anywhere in the shelter of the stand, but looking at the flags around the ground, I'd say there's just a 1-goal breeze maybe floating towards that northern end.
Now, we'll put you right on the spot, big fella, while you're there. Who's going to win this one?
The team with the best score at the end of the day, I guess we'd have to go with. But the way the Eagles started to get on top, when Big Rhett Biglands went to centre-half forward and supplied the competition, brought his smaller, crumbing forwards into it, they really did look a different team. If they can continue to do that, then I think we might see an Eagles-Port Western Suburbs Grand Final.
Fair enough, Michael. The players are in position. The umpires are in position. Colin Rouston, Kevin Chambers and Tim Fiver. Stay with us till 6 o'clock tonight. We'll pick a winner out of this for you. It's a tough encounter with 1 point the difference at half-time in the preliminary final. Your commentator is Mark Nailey.
Umpire holds the ball aloft to start the second half of this year's preliminary final. Wiggins up against Jonathan Newbury once again. Big thump forward by Wiggins. Gone as far as Davey. Shirley's in there. Davey's second effort was good. Wiggins is there also just to be able to lend a little bit of support. Whelan well cut off there by Cotton. Very good first quarter. Bit quiet in the second. Back to Hall. All around his body. It's a high ball. In comes the ground. Chance for Norwood. Jerry Dan Tosh, you're inboard. Colville should take this. He ducks his head just as he's about to take it. James, maybe a great tussle with Ugrinik. I believe Ugrinik on top up in the first half. McCormack comes through. He's held up. Troy Clements, that is. McCormack missing.
Yes,
concussion last week.
Yes, he came good. Also saw the skipper Anthony Harvey carted off on the stretcher last week, and he's out there and he's had a big influence on the game as well.
Well, ball's down, middle of the ground. Again, Wiggins just uses the body there on Newbury. Gets it down as far as Pesh. He's been good this afternoon. It's a high ball. Norwood defence, go for the spoil. Coming through hard there was Crouch. Harvey over the top again. They go forward again through Crouch. Good tackle from behind by Colville. The ball doesn't sit for Tyson. McCarthy comes in, takes it. Warrior is there as well. He dodges and weaves, ducks under the Warrior tackle. Comes up with it now. Redlegs still got it through ball lace, kicks up towards Pascoe. The back is through and the ball bounces. Which way will it bounce? Over the line for a behind. So another behind to the Redlegs. The first score in the second half. As we see now, 6-7-43. The Eagles still on 6-5-41.
Pruin from full-back for the Eagles. He's got the job on Pascoe. And Pascoe's kicked a couple. A long penetrating kick. They're going for distance, the Eagles. Wiggins was the target, playing with a couple of dislocated fingers too that needed to be addressed after last week's encounter. And Paisley, you've played with dislocated fingers. Hard to take a ball.
Yeah, it is, especially being a ruckman. I mean, their art form is to palm and punch the footy, and if they're not right, he might have had some assistance with some local anaesthetic there and some strapping to get him through.
Floriani flicks it off to Whelan, who turns around the corner and drives it to Matty Kluzak. He's made an impact. He's been an impact player.
And a very good match-up with Stephen Pitt. Lines up well with him in terms of height and strength.
And he's not bad overhead, is he? Pyman and Fleming, that's been a good battle today. Fleming, you'd suggest, is the leader at this stage, but there's a long way to go. Dantoshia gives it off. This is Wilson streaming out of defence. Oh, he's in trouble. He was corralled like a sheep. Crouch. It sits for him, fortunately. Gets away. There is plenty of pressure out there. The Eagles just weren't applying enough pressure in the first quarter, but they certainly are now.
Oh, Zuccarello gives Clements a mouthful as we go down to Michael Parsons.
Yes, and the guy sitting on the Eagles bench, besides Matthew Pavlik, who is just recovering from that knock on the head, Andrew Crow, and surprisingly for me, Adam Pearce.
Well, he was quiet in that first half, Adam Pearce, and obviously a reason there why Mark Micken has decided to rest him this quarter.
Good work there by Cotton. Saw James had a yard. Coming out hard was Rogers with that football. He left Warrior. Rogers. Bit of Maradona about that kick towards the boundary line.
Fantastic play from Andrew Rogers then. He summed up the situation. He had to leave his man, Eugene Warrior, and attack the footy and attack Roger James. Intercepted it superbly there, and that was really definitely a saving goal for the Eagles.
Wiggins thumps it down. Holland got through. Handballs it out to Pesh. Pesh just turns it nicely around the corner. The target was Matty Kluzak, and he's found him. He steadies it up, looks for a target, goes forward into space, and Biglands presents himself. The big man's doing a good job.
Just providing a contest for them at centre-half forward there with his height and strength.
He was drilling it in. Chris Kluzak was the target. Scotty Bassett takes it, and Chris Kluzak wraps him up as we go down to Michael Parsons and the Redleg bench.
Yeah, sitting on the Redlegs bench is Big Ian Downsborough, along with a couple of injured players in Robert Neal, and John Cunningham has also done his hamstring.
So bad news for the Redlegs, because Cunningham provides them with plenty of drive. So too's this man, though. Benny Kemp forces it. 20 kicks he's had. Rogers to Whelan to Pesh. Gee, they're rebounding off half-back now, the Eagles, and they look a different outfit. Towards full forward it goes. Chris Kluzak crashes the pack. Dantokia takes the ball and is held in. There is plenty of pressure out there, and we're 4.5 minutes into the third term.
Peter Road, obviously, without the use of Neal and also Cunningham, certainly going to have his flexibility restricted there in this quarter. So the players out in the ground, they really do need to do the job.
Coach Peter Road, Gary McIntosh in the background, just waiting now for their side. Would have been a tremendous half-time speech. Norwood just outclassed a little bit in that second quarter, allowed the Eagles back into it. They're still fighting hard out there for them, both sides realising the importance of this game. Grand final berth on the end of it.
And just that update I've been promising you from Robert Neal, it is actually his ankle. You see it being taped up there, very heavily strapped. He'll take no further part in the game, but a badly sprained ankle.
Wiggins, ball's down again. They get the kick away up forward. Matthew Kluzak with Pitt now. That's a terrific tussle. Chris Kluzak held out the football. Matthew comes in, comes back now. Number 12 is Crouch. Straightens the body up, goes out wide towards the boundary line. Which way will it bounce? It bounces true and onwards.
Adam Crouch there, 15 possessions for the day, and that absorbing duel continues between Matthew Kluzak and Stephen Pitt. And Stephen Pitt clearly one of Norwood's better players in the first half.
38 Wiggins down to Zuccarello. Zuccarello gets lifted, then dumped to the dirt. Ending up with Davey. Davey picks it up. Half forward, Warrior and Rogers. The ball's kicked out towards the boundary lines. Out of bounds on the fall, I don't think it is. Again, we have a shot there, Robert Neal. Well, Anthony Stevens, the North Melbourne player, went over last week with an ankle injury. If Norwood gets through, no doubt this player will do everything possible to get in that lineup next weekend.
Yes, he'll be down the beach every morning making sure that's spot on.
High ball. Cotton goes back with the flight. Takes a safe chest mark. Will come inside with the kick. Just lays it out for Pitt. Pitt takes it. Been pretty good back there this afternoon. Fairly strong. He's got a player out wide, and Wilson, the kick needs to sit now for Wilson. It does that from 45, 55 out. Puts it out in front of Pascoe, and the big man up front doesn't let his team down.
Excellent running play from Wilson there. Sense that Stephen Pitt was going to mark it in the midfield, made that extra effort to run down, create that option up forward, and finished off with an excellent kick to Lenny Pascoe.
So Pascoe, left leg, so this side of the ground will favour his style of kicking. Puts it out. The kick is beautiful. Oh, the breeze has taken it across. Right at the end there. So another behind to the Redlegs. They've kicked 2 points in this third quarter. There's 6-8-44. 3-point margin over the Eagles.
Jeffrey Wiggins getting right on top in the ruck. 9 hit-outs to 0 this quarter. So really giving the Eagles first advantage.
Holland to Colville, deep in the defence, takes the long option. 3-on-1, the Redlegs took front position. Ball Ace couldn't rove it. Clements sold the dummy nicely. Comes back in board, sold 3 dummies, if you don't mind. Kemp, Roger, James, now Bassett. Pressure from the Eagles. Clements hurries a kick just into space. Todd Davey, the former Eagle player, turns it around the corner. It's a high ball towards the goals, but it's off to the left and through for a point.
Just sense that Norwood have lifted their intensity, though. They're completely outplayed in that second quarter by the Eagles, who really did lift. They've come out after half-time and really played the way they played in the first quarter there, setting a lot of their plays up through the midfield.
Big space this side of the ground. He goes for the other side. It's a high ball again. Hall went up with it. Coming down was McCarthy. Just gives it across to Ciccarella. He goes down the line. Matty Kluzak again out in front. Pitt favoured by the bounce, but Kluzak just picking up the error there by Pitt. Didn't get down low enough. Picked up by Ukrainic. Comes in towards Chris Kluzak. He jumped high. Couldn't get to it. Pyman, who's been pretty quiet today, is taken from behind. In the back, cries Andrew Pays. Umpire hides his whistle in his back pocket as Norwood clear from defence.
I think Pays, you might have been a little bit biased there.
I don't think there's any doubt about being biased, but
Kemp to Tyson, short pass, Pascoe on the half volley, needs to keep the ball in front of him, did so. Tyson successfully sells the dummy, swings towards goal. This will be a team lifter. Rogers is coming back, but it's through. I think it's through. The Redlegs have got one. What a game this is turning out to be. The tide is turning back in favour of the Redlegs.
I don't think there's any need to worry about me being biased. Norwood here have really got back in control of this game. They're running from defence. And James Tyson, who probably has been clearly beaten on his wing by both Gavin Colville and Adam Ugrinic, he's been moved into the midfield there and finishes off with an excellent goal. But Norwood, the hunger's back, and they're just running very, very hard from defence.
10-point margin for the Redlegs. This time Newbury gets his tap down to James. They go forward once again. Rogers stays in front. Ball doesn't sit once again for Ball Ace. He is ridden into the back. And again, Andrew Page is not happy.
Almost looked like the same thing.
It does from up here as Ball Ace lays it out in front of Pascoe. Good lead, good kick. Couldn't quite get there. Colville comes up with it, just lays the ball out in front over the boundary line.
Peter Rhodes moved both Tyson and Roger James into the centre of the ground, both hard ball getters. They're both beaten on their respective wings, and those two players are really starting to have a big impact already with their possessions in this quarter.
Ciccarella to Rogers to Colville. He's claimed to the tackle. Eugene Warrior grabbed high. Play on, said the umpire. Now Whelan is released. This game has really lifted in intensity, and there's another injury. Warrior's down for the Redlegs, so let's hope he's all right. As Wilson goes forward, Hall front position on Bowman. Ball A's couldn't get through the traffic. Holland streaks away with it. Time for a bounce. Couple if he wants it. No, he just chips it over the top. In fact, should have been a handball, but he went to Kluzak with a kick. Kluzak's run down, threw the ball away. The umpire said it's a throw. Well, it was the wrong option, Paisley.
It was. It didn't need to be a kick. It only went 5 metres.
But then he left his player.
Better option would have been just a handball over the top.
Where was the shepherd? He made the mistake and then just wanted to run free. You just don't do that. You've got to support your teammates out there. See Norwood, they go forward again. They deserve a goal from that mistake. and they got one.
Kemp gets his
The
first.
error was on Eagles there. They should never let that happen.
21 kicks to Ben Kemp. He's been magnificent in the midfield there and helps himself to his first goal. But you're dead right. Just the pressure from the Norwood players there was terrific in the midfield. Dutchie Holland chose the wrong option there and then didn't support his teammate. Norwood were good enough to apply the pressure, move the ball quickly into their forward line, and young Kemp, he's on fire.
I can cop it when there is
goal.
when there is pressure, but there wasn't any pressure going through the midfield there.
Oh, Warrior. Gee, his leg got caught underneath him. That's the injury as we go back to the middle and the bounce. It's 41-57. The Redlegs have snuck away to a 16-point lead. Rogers on Warrior, gets the handball out to Pesh. Intensity really has lifted. Clever kick. Out to Ugrenic, who bounds away. He's having a big game on his wing. Towards full forward, Chris Kluzak caught underneath that ball. Wilson, Dan Toshia, and time for a bounce. Releases it. The target is Tyson. He's coming right back into this game. Finding the ball in this third term. Dan Toshia. They are moving it around the Redlegs, aren't they? Kemp, claimed by Pesh. Thrown away, Yerbury couldn't take it. Wiggins got him. Pesh and Kemp go hard at it. Biglands. Clever one over the top. Chris Kuzak. Sikalella needs to take on a man and beat him. He couldn't. Cotton steals it away, and the Redlegs now can rebound from their defence. Cotton over the top. Davey brings it back into the corridor. You've just got to work it out for the Eagles. They're just not keeping the ball in their forward line. The Redlegs are running it out quickly, and Pascoe has already kicked a couple. Make that three. Oh, the Redlegs are lifting. They're looking like grand finalists too, the way they're playing in this third term. As Pascoe gets his third. The Redlegs are 9-9. The Eagles are 6-5.
Yeah, they certainly are. They're running it out of defence. They're putting a lot of pressure on the Eagles forwards. Yerbury, they're terrific in the contest, and they're just running through that midfield there. They're being allowed to run through unchecked, and Pascoe really has had a good day. Finishes off with his third goal as the Eagles look to make a change. Andrew Crow looks like he might come on. Probably might replace young Dillon here, who's been clearly beaten by Crouch on the halfback flank.
He'll actually replace Jeff Wiggins.
Okay.
Bigland's back in the ruck for the Eagles. Come back again. Crouch goes for the boundary line. Can't quite find it. Dillon comes across. He needs to pick the football up instead of paddling in front of him. They seem to be lacking a little bit of confidence. Norwood have come out in this third quarter and really have taken up that challenge. Led by 12 in the first quarter. 1 at half-time. Now they really are controlling this game of football. Stacks on the mill. Just inside 50 for the Eagles. They need the next goal. So important.
Feature of Norwood's game in the first quarter was their ability to win the in-close ones, the in and under, and the centre clearances, and that's certainly where they've got on top this quarter.
Free kick to Wiggins against Yerbury for an infringement in ruck. Now, who was it that tipped the Eagles at half-time? I've got a couple of blokes to speak to, because the Redlegs have bolted in this third term, and Wiggins needs to put this one through just to give some credibility to the Eagles' quarter.
Would need to be his best kick to make the distance, not a renowned goal kicker.
18 points the margin after 1 point at half-time as Wiggins' kick will drop short. Biglands took front position but spoiled away. Davey just inside the line. We are 16 minutes into the preliminary finals third quarter, and it's the Redlegs by 18 points.
See there, Todd Davey. He's come on and done a good job this quarter.
Eagles players on the top of the football there once again. Come up with this Matthew Kluzak. So not much space up there for the Eagles players. Ball's knocked down. Just laying it out there was Pesh. Good little tap on. It's enough. Has it gone far enough up forward? Diving across it like Pyman. Couldn't quite get to it. The ball once again was forced out over the boundary line. Norwood are very good at doing that. See Pearce there. Pavlik Also, Wiggins just having a rest now after his work. Bigland's good use of the body, bounces one up, it bounces over, Crowell's head. Is it a goal? I think it's his first for the afternoon, the big fella. That's one that was needed for the Eagles.
Yes, he's had a pretty good day, and certainly very timely goal. Just showing his skill and his class there to be able to edge Yerbury out the way and then snap it over his left shoulder. It's a terrific goal, a very timely one for the Eagles, and Rhett Bigland's, as he comes into the ruck now, giving Jeff Wiggins a rest, who's on the bench. Just what the Eagles need. They need a lift. They need a goal here. Norwood really have controlled most of the play in this first 17 minutes.
7-5 to 9-9. The Eagles need the next goal to really keep this game alive. Whelan evades a couple of tackles, drives it back long. Who's at the back? Chris Kluzak, one-handed attempt, he almost got it. Stephen Pitt dives on top of it, good courage. Heads to the back door and space where Crouch streaks after it, but Dillon tries to run him down. Matty Kluzak, 48 out, concedes a little bit of ground to Ugrinik. Puts in a high bomb towards the point of the goal square. Big fly crowd from behind. Front position, Chris Kluzak feeds it out. Colville turns it around the corner, and he's goaled it. The Eagles are back in town. This game is a seesawing affair, and Colville gets his first.
Yeah, great game. We just see the benefit of there, building the wall. Stephen Pitt was under pressure there. Norwood cleared it. Matthew Kluzak conceded ground, got it back to Adam Ugrinik, who is a long penetrating kick. But that's their drill, top of the square. Just get numbers in the front, get it out. That's exactly where Gavin Colville was. Perfect Rovers spot there, and didn't let his teammates down with an excellent snap. We said they needed a goal quickly. They've got that. 10 points of difference. They're right back in the game.
Colville's first. Couple of behinds. Cotton. Again, the Eagles get it out of the centre square from Whelan. Whelan up towards Cicarella to Borlace. The handball to Crouch again. He's just too good this afternoon for Dillon. That move has to be made. Comes down. Good mark overhead taken by Shirley.
I think you're right, Nails. That move does have to be made.
Oh, the kick to Colwood puts him on extreme pressure. He was quickly enough to go forward, receive the football, then heads up. Pyman will come out with Pitt. Pitt in front. Comes over the top. Chris Klozak didn't overrun the football. In there again, it's Floriani. The back is Crouch. Norwood come up with it again. The handball's good over the top to Clements. On to James. James comes wide and finds Tyson, who has time and space. He heads up towards Pascoe. Good mark by the big fella. Oh, I don't know.
Man in front was paid.
He didn't really control it, didn't really take it. Fruins ended up with the football.
Yeah, I think he certainly had enough of that, Nails. Got out in front there, held onto it, and then it was just Fruin scooped it out underneath. So a good decision there and an excellent mark by Lenny Pascoe. Really is providing a great target up forward for Norwood.
Left footer could kick this, Nails.
Yes, he could. Very, very tight. We saw him before. But the breeze last time took it across the face of goals. We see Cunningham coming on for Harvey. So Pascoe, really tight in his pockets, comes out a little bit, puts the ball out. It's a beautiful kick this time. The breeze brought it back and brought it back through the middle. That's his ball.
Big day for Andrew Pascoe. Learnt from the kick before from exactly the same spot where he nailed it perfectly, and it just drifted off at the end. We see him here taking an excellent mark under real pressure from Brent Fruin, umpire in the right spot, making the right decision there. But he just nailed it at the right-hand post and just brought it around beautifully, and he's certainly having a big day out.
16 points the margin. We're almost 21 minutes into the third term. What a quarter of football this has been. I hope you're enjoying it throughout South Australia and the Northern Territory. On the ABC network, Downsborough crashes at Biglands, but Biglands gets it down. Now the Eagles are able to go forward. Chris Kluzak over the top of it, dishes out a handball to Ugrinik. Off he goes with pace, chips it in deep into the pocket, and underneath this one, mark has been paid to Crowell for the free kick.
Neither. It shouldn't have been. He didn't take it, did he, Andrew? Just too high.
A little bit lucky, yeah. Certainly wasn't a mark. And perhaps a little bit of infringement there from Wilson at the end, and he's got himself a free kick. And Andrew Cow, normally a defender, but he is an excellent kick.
Well, he's kicked two behinds today, Paisley.
Generally a good kick.
So he'll kick for goal from about 30 metres out, 45-degree angle. He stabbed at that one, didn't kick through the ball at all, and it's hit the point post, out of bounds on the full.
Yes, I might keep my trap shut in future there. He's let me down.
Norwood had the numbers here. Wilson off to James. James down the line. That kick is beautiful. Tyson out front. They don't come any better than that. One of the most highly skilled players in the competition. Roger James. Tyson. That kick wasn't good. Coming across again with Shirley. Just thumps the ball forward, opting not to go for the mark overhead. He's made ground. 15 metres.
Wasn't happy with his kick there, James Tyson. Certainly has lifted, though, after...
He's had 5 kicks in this quarter. Only had 3 in the first half. Really was beaten hands down there by Ugrinic. Pesh, good user of the football. Heads up towards Kluzak. He's got 2 players to beat there. Just floating across the back. Crouch is just getting too much of the football. Dillon's just not working hard enough. And then we've said it all this quarter, David. The move has to be made because Crouch is just getting too much of the ball back there.
Well, he's rebounding, Nails, and I think that's what the Eagles can't afford at this stage. They need the forwards to keep it in their area, particularly as we are now, 16 points the difference. I think this game, just 3 goals. That's Cunningham. Turns it around the corner into the run of James. Holland's there. Superior pace, keeps the ball in front of him and heads to the safety of the line. We're 23 minutes into the 3rd term. It's a 16-point ball game, and Harvey's receiving treatment for a leg injury. Might just get Michael Parsons to check on that and see how he's travelling as Downsborough paddles it in front of him. Shirley for the Eagles, deep in defence. It's a high one. Ugrinic and Davey. They've put Davey onto Ugrinic to try and just curb his influence. Pesh over the top to Chris Kluzak, roaming far and wide from full forward. Inside the 50 goes the kick. Stephen Pitt went to mark but decided instead to push it towards the line.
It's just where Harvey obviously testing out his left hamstring. He's not too happy with it, and Cunningham coming on too with a heavily strapped right hamstring. So a few injury worries for the Redlegs at the moment, but they certainly are in control of this game. 16 points up, 24 minutes into the 3rd quarter.
Ball's out wide. Davey over the top. Oh, good work by McCarthy. Kept the football and he still goes for the second effort. Davey gets the handball back now. Norwood through Tyson. They've started to pick up some football, these boys. They were quiet in that first half. Kemp back to Tyson. He ran on. Then gets the ball up. Coming out hard as Fruin out in front of Pascoe. Takes it. Well done by Fruin. And the kick's not good. Hasn't found his target. Well done there, the soccer forward. Comes across now to Culver. What can he do with it? He paddles it forward. They're just bashing and crashing it, doing it well. Holland's in there as well over the top of it. With him is Jerry Dantosha. And again, the umpire will come in and ball up. We've played nearly 25 minutes into this 3rd quarter. And fellas, the margin still at that 16 points.
Eagles haven't been able to get it across half forward, haven't been able to penetrate that line this quarter, and it's definitely an opportune time to make a move. Bring Adam Pearce back onto the ground. He's got fresh legs and he's a lively player. He's someone that just needs to crumb the ball up forward for the Eagles to give him a bit of bite up there.
They're assuming, of course, Paisley, that Pearce is fit. He did come into this game with a calf injury in the week before as Rogers marks. Well, he's played pretty well today for the Eagles. He's had Warrior. He's done a pretty good job.
Yeah, Warrior's had absolutely no influence on the game, and apart from a couple of early errors with his kicking, Andrew Rogers being very rare, he's been pretty solid back there as usual.
Hyman, the Eagles will need something from him in this final 35 minutes of football if they're to win and go through to a grand final. Matty Kluzak did very well. Tried to play for the free kick. Scotty Bassett didn't. He just played the ball and kept going. Forward it goes. Bowman Cunningham with that right hamstring heavily strapped. Drives towards centre forward. That's the kick. Pascoe's got it. And he's already kicked 4, Lenny. So Andrew Pascoe, the full forward, is leading the way.
Yeah, perfect lead straight up the ground there. An excellent kick coming in, and he has been the difference between the 2 sides. Chris Kluzak with 3 goals up one end, but Lenny Pascoe really has presented himself very well today. The ball's come in quickly and efficiently, and every time it's done that, he's made a contest. He hasn't done that, he's taken the mark, and his kicking has been pretty accurate as well today with 4-2.
4-2 from 7 kicks, if you don't mind. See if he can make it 5. What a day it would be for him. Well, the Redleg fans like it, and it's true. So 5 goals to Lenny as they step away by 22 points. This is going to be very difficult for the Eagles to pin back.
Yes, the largest margin we've seen in the Redlegs. They're just winning it in the midfield there. Cunningham, excellent running player. He spent some time on the bench. but just knew where he had to kick the ball out in front, top of the square, Pascoe moving into it. If he didn't mark it, Warrior was there ready for the crumbs, but Lenny's done the job today. If he hasn't marked it, it's come to ground. He's finished off very well.
22-point margin now favours the Redlegs. Big thump going forward by Downsborough. Rogers comes out. Very rare in making mistakes, but he just made one then when he overran the football. Pesh supports well, goes out wide. Ugrinik played on. Umpire brings him back. Ugrinik, they're going wide with this football. Are the Eagles. At the back is Pitt. Pitt, well, you know where he'll be going. Towards that boundary there. Now, fellas, I've just picked up out the stats between Crouch and also the player and Dillon. Dillon's had 2 possessions for the afternoon. Crouch has had 20.
What are you trying to tell us, Dales?
Well, we've been calling it all quarter. They just need someone down there. 2 possessions, it's just not good enough.
No, you've made the point, and I think it's a point well made. Kemp, Roger James, they're linking up pretty well now, the Redlegs, and Holland. Been pretty good, Posey, for the Eagles.
He has been good, carried on his good form from last week. Just getting back to Mark Naley's point, it leads me to believe that perhaps Adam Pearce is injured, because there's no way Mark Micken would put up with that such a variance in possessions. And just having a look at Dillon on a couple of occasions, it didn't appear that he was working hard enough either.
Roger James again. Look at the kick. Right to Cunningham, who's creamed by Shirley, who gives nothing away in the contest. The ball's out of bounds on the full, and Shirley will take the free. The Redleg fans were looking for one high on Cunningham. So the siren has sounded. It's 22 points at three-quarter time in the preliminary final in favour of the Redlegs, and that clearly 6 goals.
Hang on, David. There's been a free kick downfield from Floriani. The players don't realise that. The umpire now will give the ball, I think, to Pyman inside 50 for a shot at goals.
Well, this is a pretty important shot for goal there. All the momentum with Norwood that quarter, and you just sense that if Robert Pyman can go back and convert this somewhat fortunate opportunity that's been given to them, then the Eagles just may get a sniff. They must just get a little taste of it and go into the three-quarter time with a little bit of momentum rather than their heads down.
So 48 metres out. Pyman with the breeze at his back, with the Eagles trailing by 22 points. The stakes are high and the kick needs to be good. And one man you'd want kicking for goal is Pyman, and he's put it right through the middle. The Eagles go into three-quarter time with some momentum, and they're 16 points down, 2 goals on the board to Pyman. And you've got to suggest, Paisley, this game is still well and truly alive.
Well, it's kept it alive just then. I mean, that is just so important that the Eagles can come into the three-quarter time huddle with a bit of enthusiasm and a bit of promise for what really was a quarter that was completely dominated by Norwood. They went back to what they know and what they did in the first quarter, and that was hard running footy from defence and a very, very dominant midfield. The Eagles completely outplayed, didn't work hard enough in and under and at the contest, and they were just fortunate enough there. They've got that goal and they can go into three-quarter time with a bit of momentum.
3 goals that quarter to the Eagles, 5 goals, 3 to the Redlegs at three-quarter time in the preliminary final. Norwood are 11-9, the Eagles are 9-5. You're watching the SANFL preliminary final exclusive to ABC TV Sport. Oh, what a game it's been. I hope you're enjoying it at home. I think there's a few sore heads after yesterday's AFL Grand Final. I think a cup of tea, a lie down, and a good game of SANFL footy is just the tonic, Paisley, and I think we're dishing up a beauty.
I think you're speaking about what you might need there, big fella.
It's a little bit of that. The Blues, of course, didn't get up, but I'm not too bad. But I thought early that quarter, Tyson's goal got the Redlegs kick-started. I thought they were in trouble, to be honest, late in the second quarter. But when Tyson kicked this goal, I thought they were just starting to roll.
No question about it. Well held and well beaten in the first half, James Tyson, with only 3 kicks, but he really did exert his influence this quarter. And we just see there a long penetrating kick from just inside the 50 metres, proving the class player that he is.
And you'd have to be happy with Ben Kemp's game.
Ben Kemp's been absolutely fantastic. I think he's amassed something like about 23 or 24 kicks already, carrying on his outstanding finals footy. And we just see here getting himself into the right spot, front and square of the pack. Lenny Pascoe providing the contest, and the skilled player that he is had the ability to snap over his shoulder.
Now, Pascoe's got 5 goals to three-quarter time. Pretty good effort. A lot of people were lampooning him for his form last week, but I thought today he's really done the job for them.
Well, he's been very good, hasn't he, with 5 goals, and last week he kicked them at vital times. We just see here Roger James getting into the right spot. Lenny Pascoe, I think today the feature of his game's been his finishing. Every opportunity he has, bar one, he's really made the most of it.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good call. I think if the Eagles are going to win this one, they're going to need people like Chris Kluzak, Gavin Colwell combining as they did late in that quarter for one of these goals.
Yeah, indeed, Chris Kluzak, we've seen him take some excellent marks there. Just got himself into the right position. Gavin Colville there, where every good rover should be, right in front of the pack and square, and he didn't let his teammates down and kicked a good goal.
OK, how did the Eagles win?
Well, what they need to do is go back to what they did in the second quarter, and that's play man-on-man, 50-50 footy in the midfield, get next to their opponent and not let them run free. And Norwood just generated that run from defence, so they need to win it in the centre square. Rhett Biglands and Jeff Wiggins need to get on top because Yerbury's been good.
Injuries have been a major factor in this game.
They have been with Robert Neal, and also we just see there Anthony Harvey feeling his hamstring as well. Cunningham as well with a hamstring, so Peter Rode, limited flexibility. However, his side's been good so far.
I'll be interested to know what Peter Rode is saying to his boys at three-quarter time as we go down to Peter Rode, Michael Parsons and the Norwood huddle.
Yes, I haven't had much of a chance to hear what Peter Rode has been saying to his players, but one thing I did notice at this very start of the three-quarter time break, he found his acting captain for today in Todd Davey and sent him out to talk to the umpires. So something about the umpiring decisions late in that quarter really was on the mind of Peter Rode. But I think there's a lot of talk around from the players just to go longer, stay at the football, and there's a grand final spot up for grabs. Mark Mickett on the other side of the ground, he says there's nothing too much wrong with the way his Eagle boys are playing. They didn't really control the scoreboard. It's just a matter of staying at it. They're going to play a big forward pocket this quarter, so either Wiggins or Biglands will be in that forward pocket, go longer into the forward line and really get front and square around the packs and see if they can get a score on the board.
Thank you for that. As we go to the three-quarter time scoreboard here at Football Park, it's 11-9 the Redlegs, 9 goals, 5 the Eagles.
3 goals to 5 that quarter, certainly very convincing to Norwood. Eagles with that late one. As we look at the goal kickers there, Chris Kluzak 3, Pyman a couple, Colville, Kluzak, Ugrinnick and Biglands with 1 each, and Lenny Pascoe, as we mentioned before, 5 goals today and an excellent contribution. Jared Cotton, 2 goals in the first quarter, hasn't had one since. Kemp, Harvey, Clements and Tyson with 1 apiece, David.
Mark Nailey, the Redlegs that term really dominated the stats.
Yes, David, just see there that Kemp has had 32 possessions as compared to... We'll start again. I think Kemp had 32 possessions so far in this game. He's just been outstanding, along with Harvey with 21 and Crouch with 20. And for the Eagles, we've had Colville with 23 possessions and Pesh has had 25. And the damaging wingman for the day in Ugrinnick's had 21, but just going through inside 50, pretty close there. 41 plays, 42. Hit outs, the back even again at 29 apiece.
Very interesting as Peter Rode gives final instructions to his players who are very intense. It's interesting, isn't it? It's coming from the elimination final. Now, it has been done. Port Adelaide did it last year and they won the flag. Norwood have done it in 1984. It is possible to win the flag from 5th position.
He'd just be saying to his charges there, just throw everything, I mean, everything on the line at the moment, absolutely nothing to lose. A big prize in the grand final next week. And they've done it pretty right for most of the day. The Eagles probably controlled the footy in that second quarter, and they'd want to come out and use Lenny Pascoe up forward, who has been dominant, get the ball in quickly. As we see Gary McIntosh there, I saw him pull a few players aside there and just give them a few words of advice. I don't think there's too many around with any more knowledge and nous of how to play finals footy than Gary McIntosh, and when he does say something, they certainly do listen as well.
Peter Rode heads back to the coach's box. They lead by 16 points. They're in the box seat as we go to Mark Nailey. The call for the final term. The umpires are in position. We are with you until 6 o'clock. I think you'll enjoy this final term. It promises to be a beauty. Let's hope the Eagles can be competitive. Stay with us. Your commentator, Mark Nailey.
Yes, no doubt, David, that the Eagles will be competitive. They realise that they need to win today, otherwise their season is over. The big sign down here at Football Park is saying, go Eagles, go, go Legs, go. It's going to be a fantastic clash. Sit back and watch it. It's exclusive to ABC Sport. Eagles, Whelan fights through the pack hard. Taking him down was James. A great third quarter by Roger James. He had 9 possessions. He really was outstanding, along with Kemp, who also in that third quarter had 11 possessions. Here he goes again. That's his 33rd for the afternoon. We'll just keep count with his possession. He's been outstanding. Ball ace nearly takes it. Whelan dodges, weaves, goes one way, gives the handball across now to Pesh. Pesh goes over the top. You can see Colville by himself. Colville laces out the football to Christopher Kluzak. Couldn't take it. Floriani. Pyman's taken high. Coming out, crowd. Which way will he go? He needs to give the handball. He does this time. In again. They're just using it with support. Finally ends up with Floriani. The first major on the board in the last quarter. Goes to the Eagles. That's the first for the Flogger.
Great work there from young Floriani. Been given the job on Kemp, who's been outstanding for the whole game, and Kemp got a clearance there in the centre, but Johnny Floriani worked hard to work off him to get down into the contest there in front of the goal. An excellent slap on his left foot, and great stuff from the Eagles to get themselves back within 10 points.
Still plenty of work to be done by both sides in this game. I think Port Adelaide coach Stephen Williams will be just licking his chops that they're beating each other up in this game, because the winner gets a crack at Port Adelaide for the 1999 flag. Warrior claimed by Rogers. He's worn him like a glove, the Eagle skipper. Tyson threw that one away. Oh, the umpire said he did. So the skipper takes it from right half back.
Great stuff from Andrew Rogers there. Didn't get the first reward with the Warrior tackle, which was terrific, then backed it up and got himself there, and 2 excellent tackles in a row. Certainly has had a great game.
Kluzak used his body beautifully and took the mark. And Nicky Pesh seems to have run out of steam. Not much run in his legs. They'll need a lift from him. The kick is wasteful because Downs was dropped back into the hole and takes a defensive mark.
Yeah, you're right about Pesh there. Started on the ball. He spent all day in the forward pocket last week. He hasn't had a lot of footy of late with injury. It might be an opportune time for Mark Micken to bring Adam Pearce back onto the ground.
I don't think he's fit, Posey.
Albeit if he isn't injured.
Biglan's backs himself. Try to get around Bowman. Ball spill free. Biglan's again. He needs support. The big fella just hadn't got the pace. Comes back to Kemp. He's clever. He's quick. And very evasive. Up forward. Harvey out front. Misses the mark. At the back is Holland. Holland needs to give the handball. Comes wide. You can see a player in Ugrinnick who will go up against Bowman. Nearly takes the football, then pushed over the line there by Roger James.
If we do get the opportunity, we might get Michael Parsons just to check with the Eagle bench, just to see if Adam Pearce is actually injured. I mean, he is the football budget player of the year. He's had an outstanding year for the Eagles and really just hasn't had any ground time at all today. So if we can confirm whether he is injured or not, I think that'd be pretty pivotal to their chances today.
We know that. Sorry, Michael.
There is one player on the ground that's injured. That's Anthony Harvey. He's really starting to struggle with that hamstring. We'll have a look at him now. He just can't stretch out at all as he runs the ball across the line. And that's an opportunity for the interchange. John Cunningham comes off similarly injured, but Anthony Harvey will sit down.
Well, I guess the skipper wants to be out there while this game's in the balance.
Yeah, not only that, I mean, it almost probably be thinking a little bit about next week as well. It's a toss-up. Do I stay on? Do we get over the line here? Or if we've got an opopportunity, you know, am I going to be all right for next week?
Nick Pesh finds something. Chris Kluzak finds something else. Nails likes it. It's a big mark. 48 metres out, directly in front.
Fantastic mark again from Chris Kluzak. That's his 4th fantastic mark. He's kicked 3 goals, and I guess conversely, like the other end, Andrew Pascoe's had the delivery perfectly today, and he's been able to take him on his chest. Chris Kluzak really has had to make the most of every opportunity by taking excellent marks out in front of his body. That was certainly no exception.
1 goal, 3 last week against Port Adelaide. 3 goals, 1 today. As he puts this one in, it's drifting off to the right. 3 goals, 2. Gee, a goal there. You just can't help but think what a goal would have done for the Eagles.
They certainly really needed it. Generally a very good kick in front of goal, but they've got themselves back within 10 points. The breeze has actually swung around to favour that southern end, so that's certainly helping the Eagles as well.
Cotton from half-back. Ball bounces, favours Bowman. Bowman quickly gets the boot to ball, goes out wide. Tyson in front. Ball aces with him, gives it back to Tyson. Tyson around his body. The running Cunningham will be taken and tackled there by Floriani. Swings him around once. Warriors in there. Handball by Floriani wasn't good. This allows Holland to take it. He backs himself, the little speedster. Comes on board. He'll be tackled by James. Gives the handball over to Shirley. Shirley's on extreme pressure. Just too many Norwood players through that midfield. Back to Holland. Holland screw punts it up towards half forward. Oh, the mark's been taken by Crowell.
No, definitely
First
Scott.
touch by
Definitely Fleming. Yep. Yeah, Fleming had first hands on the footy there.
Oh,
no
yes.
question about that.
Let's quickly, fellas. The Eagles trailed last week, 75 points to 59 at three-quarter time, and they kicked the first goal last half. Just a little stat from the Mogridge machine.
Paul punches it away. Floriani to Whelan. Whelan's been pretty good today. So too's Holland. I think this is his best game for the Eagles. Out wide to Colville, who's found plenty of the ball. Helped to get the Eagles back into this game. Kluzak, who started the game on the bench and made an impact, coming on late in the second quarter. Off it goes to Colville, who's still running. A high one towards Chris Kluzak at full forward. It's over his head. Stephen Pett will need to mop up and drive the Redlegs out of defence and back into attack. He does so to James. James skirts over the top of the left boot. It's a lazy old kick to Cotton. Cotton in turn just squeezes it towards Cunningham. On the half volley, the best and fairest winner of a couple of years ago gets it away, but it's cut off by Biggles and he heads straight to the line. It was interesting.
Well done by Floriani. A couple of opportunities there for Johnny Cunningham. Obviously feeling the effects of that hamstring. He just closed him down beautifully as we throw down to the boundary line and Michael Parsons.
Yes, boys in the box, you're very interested in the state of the health of Adam Pearce. He is just having a rest, according to the boys on the bench.
Good kick down the line by Whelan. Again, Kluzak playing in front. Nearly took that mark. Pitt was quick to get to him.
It's almost a nice way of saying, mind your own business, David. We'll get on with the game.
I don't think they tell us at this close to a grand final whether he was crook.
But he certainly didn't come off with any type of injury.
Ciccarella, good tap by Biggles. Just love the spot. Pitt goes back with the football, misses the mark. Now they have the numbers here. Kluzak and Crowell, the little speedster, takes off. Don't kick it over his head, he has. Eagles, Wiggins, 1-2, Pyman, he won't miss this. Put down the glasses, put another goal against his name. That's his second.
Well played by Jeff Wiggins there. Provided the contest up forward, couldn't mark the ball. Mark Nolly called it. The ball went over his head, but Jeff Wiggins was good enough just to fend off young Wilson there. Got Robert Pyman, who was in the right spot, and from 30 metres out from just about anywhere, put it down for a goal.
Don't get too excited.
Fantastic stuff. I'm excited to jump down there in a minute. Still 3 points in it. Norwood have been good for most of the day, but
8 minutes gone. Final term. Still plenty of time for both sides. What an epic battle it's been. And I guess you've got to say, whichever the other side gets a crack at Port Adelaide, they're going to be worthy.
No doubt about that. Just see the injury toll. They're starting to mount. On both sides.
They look tired. Biggles is tired. He's rucked all afternoon. So the little break he had there up forward.
Downs were down. Davey forward. McCarthy, gee, he was good the first half. Cotton has
fantastic mark.
Ignited them early, didn't he?
He did. He was the one that set him up for in the first quarter. Been reasonably quiet since, but a courageous mark going against the flight of the footy there.
Now Warriors come off. Yerbury back on.
Blood rule with Lachlan Bowman.
You know what's Cotton's stats are very interesting, aren't they? When you have a look at what he's done, 13 kicks, 7 handballs, a couple of goals, and I guess the first was the igniter that got the Redlegs moving, and his first quarter was terrific.
He was fantastic. He had 9 and 2 in the first quarter, so you'd have to say with 13 and 7, he's been reasonably well held since then, but type of player that can really ignite a side. Elected to go to Roger James there, and you just wonder whether that was the right move.
Bassett, check side, shot for goal, and he's put it through.
No, he's missed it.
No, he's missed it. Well, he's put it through for a point.
Ball ace it was.
Ball ace.
This is good work there by Cunningham, Andrew. Just have a sense.
Just worked the ball in the area, realised that he didn't have an opportunity to kick the goal, got it in board. It would have been a miraculous goal from there, from young Ball ace, but not to be.
Well, the Eagles need the next goal. The kick's out wide. McCarthy and Downsborough. McCarthy in front. The thump forward was good. Cotton taken by Ugrinik as he kicked the football. But Pascoe's there, the big man. What's happened? He's been pushed as he's kicked it. So will it be down?
No, he's actually going to bring it back.
It might be. It didn't go through for a score, so in fact it should come back.
Yeah, coming back to the point, because it wasn't actually after disposal, it was during the incident,
So
during the play, so brought back to the appropriate position.
Well, Jared Cotton,
he won't handball this one off.
I don't think he will. This time he'll go for that left leg. See if he can steer one through. Oh, stabs at it. You can see David Mackay put his hands to his head and closes his eyes. He hates seeing players having shot for goal, just stabbing at the football.
First thing they teach you, don't they, Paisley? Just kick through the ball.
Certainly do, and you just wonder why he's lacking a bit of confidence in front of goal. Previously, handballs off.
I think he's not fit.
I reckon he's carrying a hamstring.
He's carrying an injury of some sort, and I reckon he just didn't
want to kick through.
Didn't want to aggravate it. Gee, you look through the Redlegs, and if they do get through, you're right, Paisley. You picked it early. Injuries are going to be a major factor as we go down to Michael Parsons.
Just talking about those injuries, Eugene Warrior a moment ago came off. He's obviously still feeling the effects of twisting his knee earlier in the day. He came off and Yerbury came on. Lockie Bowman then opened up a cut that is underneath his chin. He's still got about 10 staples in that cut from last week, and he needed to come off for the blood rule and Warriors back on, so there is another injured player on the ground for the Redlegs.
Well, 5-point margin. We've played nearly 12 minutes into this last quarter. Bigland's up against Yerbury. Been a great tussle all afternoon. Again, we see Bigland's over the top. Kluzak's been very good since coming on midway through that first quarter. It's up high. Fleming couldn't quite mark it. Up there with Pyman. Both players quite content to see the ball out over the line. Well, it's going to go down to the wire, this game.
I think you're right.
Very evenly matched. As we see Warrior coming off again. Bowman just had a bit of tape over that cut. The tap down at the ground level was Pesh. Wiggins just slaps it onto his boot. Norwood had the numbers here. Well done. Kept in front there by Crowd. Great tackle by Crouch from Pyman. And he went for the safety again at the white line.
Just having a quick look at the injuries to the Norwood side. You've got Harvey with a hamstring, Cunningham with a hamstring, Neal with an ankle, Cotton, who David Mackay said possibly sore because he hasn't kicked through the footy shooting for goal, and also Eugene Warrior. So plenty of worries in the red leg camp, and I guess it's probably testament to the way they played that they've been able to be so close to the Eagles with that amount of injuries thus far.
Paisley, I think Warrior's been taken off the form. I don't think he's injured at all. Rogers has done a ripper job, and when you think your best players, I think you're going to have to put the skipper in amongst the Eagles' best somewhere. Kemp, he'll be high amongst the Redlegs' best. Over to Tyson. In turn, Davey. Well, he's resurrected himself from injury to be back in this side and a chance for a grand final. McCarthy releases Fruin over the top. Colville. Well, he'll be one of the Eagles' best, no doubt about that, when Paisley picks them. To half forward, and the kick is a beauty. Bigland's dropped it. Gee, I'm glad it wasn't a bag of the proverbial. Sikalella, 60 out, just chips it forward into the run of Chris Kluzak. Over that player's head, Wilson, long searching handball to Davey. Went to come back inboard, but sold it pretty well. Delivers it long and low. Rogers, hard at it as usual. Evades ball ace, got away from two, and turns it around the corner into the path of Shirley, who takes it and breaks. Gets the handball away. Holland is 60 out. He can kick a goal and make a hero of himself. He goes long towards the goals. Pitch back there. It's offline. 1 point the result, so the Eagles just edge 1 point closer. They're 4 points down.
I guess Reddy Biglands can breathe a sigh of relief there. If the turnover had resulted in a goal for Norwood, would have been extremely disappointed with his effort to mark on the half-forward line. Needs to just keep his head up, keep moving forward. He's had a good game. Can't let that get him down now.
Knocked forward there by Crow. Good tackle on Tyson. That's holding the ball, umpire, in my book. He calls play on. Supporters there. They come inboard. Shirley's got time now. And numbers. Gets back. Needs to pump it in quickly. One-on-one. Where's Christopher Kluzak? He'll have a fly at this and behind is Matty. Who's dropped it?
Pyman.
Oh, had to be one of them. Kluzak's down holding his head. I think Pyman's there. What a grab. He's kicked two. Will line up for his third.
Fantastic mark. Doesn't generally get that high off the ground there, but he's saving himself for the best, and he already kicked 1 goal this quarter, lining up for his third.
He's kicked 3, is he?
He's kicked 3.
3 goals, actually, lining up for his 4th, so kicked that one just before three-quarter time, didn't he, to give the Eagles a little bit of momentum going into three-quarter time, the one we didn't have. And now you probably wouldn't want a better player to have the ball 20 metres out dead in front. He's the man for the job.
They can't let him retire, Niles, this bloke. I know he's had a difficult year on and off the field.
Would you believe this? Matthew Pavlich is coming on. The big number 49, Christopher Kluzak, has come off. Here's a round of applause. Now, Pyman, he just loves this. He loves the attention. He's out there. He's in the spotlight.
You dream
he
about
has to go back and kick a goal now.
I think you're dead right. You do dream about it. He's just got the opportunity to put his side back in front.
4 points down. He's kicked 3. 1 on the first.
3 points down.
1 in the third. 1 in the last, and he's missed this.
No. Oh, no.
He's missed it. 4 points down, now 3 points. A bit of an
That certainly wasn't his best effort. However, we've still got a game on our hands.
So you can't...
3 points in it.
Sorry, Paz, you can't underestimate finals pressure, though, can you? And that's what it was about. It was just real pressure. James, look at him go.
Great chase.
Grinick almost ran him down. The ball's now inside the Redlegs 50, and they're exploding forward. What a turnaround it is. Cunningham, claimed by the skipper. Rogers got him. Handballs it away into space. Fruin heads back after it. The big man's done a good job. Oh, but in fairness, Pascoe's kicked 5, so perhaps he hasn't. That was a shocker. Tyson squares it up. Cunningham marks. Comment, Mark Nailey.
I'm sure he's looked at his eyes and thought that was an Eagles player. He just... I can't believe it. I can't believe what I've seen.
What do you reckon, Posey?
I think he went for the boundary line.
Oh,
and just didn't execute it properly, and it's come off the inside of his boot and gone inboard to Tyson.
God, they've made
Andrew Rogers will be spewing there because he's laid on about 2 magnificent tackles just to hold the ball and repel the attacks. The ball comes straight back to his respective opponent.
Cunningham from 30. Well, there is some real pressure out there, isn't there? When you see good players missing, you know the pressure's real.
There's no breeze. And Cunningham and Pyman at both ends, 2 excellent kicks have missed by plenty, and that is all about pressure.
Kick in by Fruin. This time it's better executed up to Wiggins. Wiggins out in front. Look at Colville, front and centre. Millimetres away from his big ruckman. Over the top to Kluzak. He needs the support. No voice at all. His brother took off and left him alone. The umpire comes in, puts 2 arms across his chest.
He's gone, isn't he?
He's a little bit groggy. He must be groggy because just took far too long to dispose of the footy there, and in his defence, perhaps a lack of talking from the players around him.
Wiggins, Yerbury. Yerbury thumps it over the top. Where's Cicarella? Taps the ball forward there by ball ace to James. James heads to the top of the square. Big Pascoe couldn't take it. Back there is Rogers. He's as cool as a Kelvinator. Goes for the safety of the boundary line.
He has been good. Just looking at... he's had 18 possessions, and he would be high amongst the best players for the Eagles. And Roger James is really starting to find some footy in the midfield, and he's just one of those players, when he gets his hands on it, something generally happens with positive nature for Norwood.
Rogers handballs it out. There's a free kick. It's coming back. It's against Davey on Rogers.
Well, they had the ball anyway.
Now they've got to work. They've got to work back down.
Play on's the call. Rogers gets it back. Handballs over the top. Shirley needs some support.
Oh, don't let him.
Shirley, long ball, front position, Pitt. Gee, you talk about coolness. Rogers at one end and Pitt at the other.
Fair marking display from Stephen Pitt. Has not dropped one, and he's repelled about half a dozen attacks today at least.
Kemp, you've got to say, will get another crack at AFL the way he's played today. And Pascoe runs in for 6. No, he doesn't. He feeds it back. Tyson lifts the eyes and puts it through. Good play by Pascoe. Release Tyson, and Tyson kicks truly. That's his second.
Was good play from Pascoe there. Realised that he was on his wrong side. A left footer normally, and just didn't want to take the chance on the right foot there, running flat out. Came back inside, got it back to Tyson, who's kicked his second goal, and he really has lifted his work rate after half-time to be up amongst the Redlegs better players.
Well, the Eagles have just made too many mistakes. They can look back on this tape. Just far too many mistakes when it counts, and you can't win football matches when you do that. We're back in the middle again. 83 place 74. 9-point ball game. Still plenty of time for the Eagles. Grinick Hasn't stopped trying all afternoon. Throws the football away. They'll come back. They can't afford to let Norwood kick the next goal. This is Yerbury. He's got James in short. He's got Pascoe moving up forward. He's got Bowman up there. That's where he goes now, towards Lockie Bowman. Goes for it. Taken high was Bowman by Rogers. Pascoe's in there, just paddles the ball out over the boundary line.
Well, scoreboard pressure right on the Eagles now. Norwood will be quite happy just to bottle up, hold the ball in the area, win those in close ones. I've done it for most of the day. The attendance there, nearly 11,000 mark. Only a bit of a surprise, perhaps, and a perfect
9 points.
day in September.
9 points the margin. Underneath this one, Hall. Handballs away to Shirley. The Eagles need a lift. They need a couple of quick goals to get back in the hunt. Their grand final hopes are building on this. Ugritic comes through half forward. Pushing off and working hard under the contest was Crouch and Crowell. And that one's across the line. 21.5 minutes played. Final term, preliminary final. Stakes don't get any higher than this. Can the Eagles make a charge? Can the Redlegs hold them off and meet Port Adelaide in next week's grand final? I think we'll get the answers. I know we'll get the answers in the next 3 or 4 minutes. Pesh bustles the ball away. Colville to Sickalel, the Eagles runners. He's inside 50, handball over the top. No, he goes for the goals. It was the wrong option, wasn't it? And Wilson just pushes the ball across the line and it's hit the point post. It's out of bounds deep in the Eagles forward line.
Yeah, he had plenty of opportunities there. Perhaps should have just hit the top of the square. Elected to go for goal. Couldn't finish it off.
Well, players starting to make mistakes under this pressure. Eagles have got it again. Norwood are in there as well. 31 is Bassett. Holds it in close. Back to the umpire, Yerbury. With Wiggins. Wiggins strong, tough, aggressive at the football. Ball stumped back there by Chris Kluzak. Pyman again around his body. He's brought it back. Has he brought it back far enough? Bit too far. Another behind. The Eagles still up there. It's inside their 50. This is where they need to keep it in. Again, the huddle forms. Norwood players again too easily get the football out from this kick in. Finds Pitt. Pitt out of side, goes wide. Clements runs hard. We've got the numbers there as well with Crouch inside. Coming across as Crowell. He'll go over the top now. He does it beautifully there to Crouch. Coming across as Rogers. Intercepts. Crouch is in there as well. They go cross. Handball out in front. He's out of bounds over the line. Matthew Pavlich back on again. 38 and Wiggins comes off. Biglands. 23, nearly 23 and a half into this last quarter. Preliminary final exclusive, the ABC Sport.
McCarthy quite content to see that one across, but the Eagles can't afford the ball out there. That's working into the Redlegs' hands. They need to move the ball to the defensive side. Over the head of Biglands, not forward. The ball comes crashing down, but the Redlegs are up to it. James, into space he goes. Floriani crashes out, drives the ball back. On the outer wing, Colville. It's a foot race with Clements, and neither player able to keep the ball in. Well, time running out for the Eagles. They trail by 8 points. They'll need 2 goals at least. Points will not suffice. They need 2 quick goals, and remember that Robert Pyman has had 2 shots in the last 5 minutes and missed them both. Biglands takes it out of the ruck, tries to get the kick away. Plenty of pressure. Kemp, Cotton, upended by Shirley. Now Pesh around the corner. Who wants it for the Eagles? Crowell was there. Davey for the Redlegs. Wilson forced onto the left boot. Now it's a foot race. Sickalella comes hard at it, sells the dummy end on Dantokia. Brings it back inboard, and the Eagles are building.
Need to get a goal in this play.
Whelan.
If they're going to win the game.
Whelan's been very good today. Towards half forward, big fly. Pyman comes crashing out, couldn't take it. Oh, great tackle, Crowell. It was Crowell. He got Kemp. Crouch has grabbed and thrown away. Floriani down from the back pocket. Inboard to Sickalella. Evades the tackle. Now on the left, he chips it in short. Oh, but Yerbury did well, the big man.
Yes, he's had a good game, Yerbury, against the two big fellas in the Eagles, but Stephen Pitt has been outstanding back there across half-back for Norwood, repelling numerous attacks, and when he gets the ball, he just uses it so well out of defence.
I don't know, Posey, how you're going to pick your best players. This is going to be a tough job today.
Yeah, Norwood have certainly had plenty of players for 4 quarters who have been valuable contributors. See here Clements snuck down and kick a goal from half-back, which he loves to do.
Time running out. Clements dumps the ball up towards half-forward. Hands up, Norwood again. The bottom of the pack there was ball ace. He's taken off the football by Colville. Pesh comes in. He needs to give the handball across to Holland. He does that. He comes across to Floriani. He'll get around James. Good tackle. Holland's second effort was good. Great tackle by James. Ball ace is in there. Pesh as well. The ball spills free once again. James is in there. Just tucks it underneath his shorts, making sure it goes nowhere. And again, the man in white will come in, put it down. In the centre of this ground here at Football Park, Warrior back on. Jerry Dantoshi are off. The players getting tired. The heat and the pressure, the pace of this game starting to take its toll. It's down. Bigland's got a player out wide. Good stuff. Handball over the top to Colville. He takes it, gets the boot to ball. Green should take this and run with it. He does. Comes back inside. Then steadies himself, chips the ball up high. Where's Kluzak? He goes up, nearly brings it to the ground. Pyman's there. Pavlik's there as well. Overruns the football. He'll still be seeing stars, no doubt, in Pavlik. Comes back to Kluzak and just needs to spot somebody. He hasn't. He's wasted the football once again. Fleming takes it and releases that pressure for the Norwood defence.
Might be just enough, Posey, for the Redlegs.
Yeah, that was the opportunity they needed to convert. Norwood were very good in their pressure coming forward. Matty Kluzak just didn't have an option, and Todd Davey was there.
The Redlegs are building towards a grand final. Cotton, high amongst the best of the first half. He just eased into that kick. Rogers,
a great tackle.
Tackled, goes to ground, and the umpire says holding the ball.
It's just the perfect tackle. Pinned his arms. Andrew Rogers didn't want to cough the footy up. Didn't have much of an opportunity to get rid of it there, but Pascoe's just laid on the perfect tackle and pinned his arms. He was only going to throw it if he got rid of it, so
I guess the rule there is
fair enough.
Still has to be prior opportunity.
Fair, and the perfect tackle there. What more can you do?
Well, there's two sides to that one, I guess.
25 metres.
And a 25-metre penalty as Rogers just knows
Obviously remonstrating
that their season's over. They haven't got time to get back now. So the Redlegs, with Pascoe kicking 6 as he puts this one through, will go through to meet Port Adelaide in the 1999 Grand Final. If you're a Redleg fan, go and book your tickets and plan your trip, because the Redlegs will be through to the 1999 SANFL Grand Final. Pascoe kicked 6, not since 1997 have Port Adelaide and Norwood met in the Grand Final. Rest assured, this one's a sellout.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's going to be traditional rivals, but Jared Cotton starting to get back into the game that he really did control in the first quarter, and we just see the tackle here from Lenny Pascoe. Andrew Rogers had no option to dispose of the ball because he only had one arm. He would have given it away with the throw, so he elected it to hold onto it. And it's just an excellent tackle. Pascoe, he really has provided a real target for them up forward all day. He's converted when he's had to, and when he hasn't marked it, he's brought it to the ground, and a very, very good sign for him and the Norwood side holding the ball in the area.
89 plays, 75. Time running out for the Eagles. They take a mark back there once again. Young player over the top, Shirley. Handballs across to Floriani, just throws the football away, then picks it up again. He comes down the grandstand wing, up high. The man back there taking his 9th mark for the afternoon, Stephen Pitt. 19 possessions. He really has been outstanding, along with Cotton early, and also Kemp, who's had somewhere in the vicinity of 36 possessions, fellas. He must be high in your best players, Andrew.
It'll certainly be hard to split those exact 3, Mark. Pitt's been relentless with his attack on the footy at half-back and repelled numerous attacks. Kemp, through sheer weight of possessions and also the way he's used them, has got to put his hand up for best on-ground honours, and also Crouch as well across half-back, I think, has played a terrific game for Norwood.
So Pesh ends up with the football. 75-89, nearly the 30-minute mark ticks over in the preliminary final of 1999. Cunningham back on. Harvey, hamstring also, so it's going to be a very interesting week in the Norwood medical room. The players really been belted and bashed around this park this afternoon. Handball inboard. Kluzak onto Holland. Holland looks left leg, goes up high. Pavlik, he jumps, couldn't get off the ground. Number 2 and Wilson just sat on his shoulders. Gets it, moves quickly across to Fleming.
Fleming rebounds from half-back. Over the top goes the kick to Cunningham. The 1997 Jack Oatey medalist to Clements. The kick was short and deep in defence. Shirley repels it. Rogers, the skipper, he must play on. He's 35, but playing great football. Pyman has already announced his retirement. McCarthy, the 32-year-old recruit, will he come back next year? The Eagles hope so. Pesh, late start to the season, but this one's finished for him. McCarthy thumps it on. Rising star is Whelan. The siren has sounded. 14 points the margin in favour of Redlegs, and they're through to the 1999 SANFL Grand Final. They'll meet Port Adelaide next week. The final score 13-11. The Eagles 11 goals, 9. And remember, Paisley, that the Redlegs were top after round 16. So they are formidable opponents for Port Adelaide in next week's Grand Final.
I don't think there's any doubt about that. That's a fantastic victory to Norwood. They are going to pay the price with injury problems going into next week's Grand Final, but they've done very, very well to make it. Their form towards the end of the year certainly wasn't outstanding, but today they really did control it for most of the day. The Eagles did get back into it in that second quarter, and just towards the end of that quarter as well, had opportunities to draw within a bit closer, but Norwood, they were just too hard in their back six. Their midfield did control the game early, particularly up forward through Cotton. And, of course, Andrew Pascoe with 6 goals was excellent up forward.
And give us your best.
OK, best player, we look at final scores there, but my best player went to Kemp through sheer weight of possessions with 36, closely followed by Pascoe at full forward with 6. Stephen Pitt, magnificent across half-back, along with Crouch, and Jared Cotton early with his contribution and a couple of goals in the first quarter was very good. As we see the goal kickers there, Robert Pyman with 3, Chris Kluzak, that is, with 3, singles to Floriani, Colville, Kluzak, Grinick and Biglands. And for Norwood, as we mentioned before, Big Pascoe there with 6 goals, Cotton with 2, Tyson with 2 goals from his wing, Kemp, Harvey and Clements 1 apiece.
Well, what about that? If you're wanting a video of this one, $34.95 will get you one. Go to the ABC shops in town, or you can dial 8343 4601. I think this is a classic. What about next week? It's Port Adelaide and Norwood in the 99 Grand Final. Join us next week. We should be live from 2 o'clock. If it's a sellout, I'm sure it would. See you next week. Bye for now.
The brother's gonna work it out. The brother's gonna work it out. The brother's gonna work it out. The brother's gonna work it out.
It's 7 o'clock in the morning. They've been here since 5 just to get a good starting spot. They, of course, are the entrants in the 1999 Birdwood Classic. Good morning, I'm Tanya Nugent. Welcome to the ABC's coverage of the day. Well, normally this place behind me at West Beach is a softball field. Not today, though. Today it is jam-packed with over 1,100 vehicles. Their drivers and passengers are here, there's field marshals, breakfast cooks, more. All for what is probably the biggest mobile event of its kind in Australia. And 5AN's Richard Margetson is at the starting line.
G'day. It's called the Birdwood Classic because all the cars here are built between 1945 and 1969. Now, I'll set the scene for you a bit. 1945, it's the end of World War II, and Duke Ellington is the top of the charts. By 1969, we've put a man on the moon, Australian soldiers are still in Vietnam, and we build our first pizza joint. And of course, in this time, our car designs really change. Tanya has the story.
The machines of the late 40s look like they come from a much earlier time. By the 50s, the look had changed. Cars were better designed for families, and they were cheaper. The number of cars on the road more than doubled during this decade. In 1948, the first Holden comes off the production line. And with the FJ, Australia gains an icon. Meanwhile, the Americans had gone for the dramatic. Vast cars, kilos of chrome, and extravagant fins.
But today it's style that counts. White wall tyres, fins and chrome, and driving at around 50 or 60 kilometres per hour. Most of the people who are involved in the Birdwood Classic are not in the main competitive group. In fact, they're here for a drive in the hills and a picnic in Birdwood.
Get your motor running. Head out on the highway.
The concours entrants are the people who are competing for the Birdwood Classic trophy. Now, these are the people who spend a lot of money and probably just a little bit more time getting their cars into tip-top classic condition. So much work goes into a winning entry that most winners don't even attempt it again for a few years, if ever. But that doesn't stop the hopefuls.
South Australian Transport Minister Di Laidlaw and the Mayor of Holdfast, Brian Nadillo, did the honours to get things going early this morning. The ceremonial cars that led the start included a 1962 South Australian Police Chrysler Royal, which was built here in SA. The cars that enter the classic Birdwood event have to be at least 30 years old. So, being 1999, cars from 1969 are included. And that means this year, for the first time, the mighty Monaro gets a Guernsey.
This is a 1968 HK Monaro. He won Bathurst in 1968. At the time, it was the fastest car in Australia. It won many rallies. It took every title at the time. Very low, wide look it has. It's got a bit of a stance to it, like a cat, you know, like a lion. Suddenly, it's got a bit. If you sit back and look at it, it's got a bit of an aggressive look. Being described as a silver-valved Monaro nut. It's one way of putting it. The word Monaro's there, and I am nuts about them. True. I do love it. I do love the vehicle.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
Some good times back in the late 70s. It was a rock and roll scene. You know, you had surfies up to the mill, you had your rockets and Creon, and top cars were in. I guess I still are too. And it was a good scene. It was good to be part of it. This is the first time I've entered a concourse event, which is going to be, it'll be really interesting. I've never done it before, and it'll all be new to me. And I'll sit back and wait and see what happens.
What are you up to? Hello, hello. Whoa. Hello, tickle, tickle, tickle.
What are the babies doing? What are...
Hi, this is my wife. In many ways. We've got 4 beautiful kids. We've got a roof over our head. We've got our cars. You know, it's difficult sometimes to keep the whole package together. Rose and I, we managed to get through it. Clubs, you know, it's good when it works. It's good when it happens like that. Everyone's together, and it's like a bunch of mates getting together for the same common interest. When the club's like that, that's when the club's at its peak. People are interested in the car, in keeping the car on the road, and keeping in contact with people with the same interests, the Manara.